and welcome to episode 188 of the F.Reality Podcast. Wherever you are in the world, we hope you're having a lovely weekend. But now it's time to sit back and chill with us for a while we discuss this week's top VR news. We're going to be talking about HTC's most unusual VR headset to date, which was announced earlier this week, and that is the HTC Vive Flow. We discuss our thoughts on one of VR's biggest game releases of the year, and that is Lone Echo 2. We have two Kickstarter campaigns that are VR ones that you should definitely be excited about, and they should be on your radar. And then we're going to give you our predictions for Facebook Connect, which takes place on the 28th of October. At the end of the show, Zim is going to round it up with some releases for you to get excited about next week. But for now, let me introduce you to the team and find out if they have any highlights that they want to share from the past couple of weeks. Also, let us know what you played in the chat so we can read out some of your highlights too. So, first up, this guy is the original Wade Watts, exploring and sharing the best of what VR has to offer, and he's having an absolute blast while doing so. It's, of course, our favourite Frisian, Snathie. How are you?
The ancient Wade Watts from the metaverse, right?
In his rocking chair.
Yeah, true. Though I do start to feel more and more like ancient as we go. It's like, my days, we had a Rift, and I used to talk about DK1, but nowadays it's like even a Rift is like old school, or, PlayStation VR or like the original Vive. So time flies. And soon it's going to be even worse because like headsets seem to be, getting dropped on a daily basis, or at least revealed or announced, right?
True.
It's insane. But my highlight is you, Mike, because Mike, everyone, hit 500k subscribers. So please have some festive emojis in the chat. This dude works really hard. You have no idea. I mean, the videos, he's like smiling and having fun, and he is genuinely having fun, but he's also working his freaking ass off behind the scenes. You have no clue, but congratulations, my friend. You really deserve it.
Thank you very much.
Lovely shout.
Thank you.
Lovely shout.
Yeah.
So how does it feel?
Yeah, it feels great. Like, 500k is an awesome milestone, and I'm just grateful to be in the position that I'm in, to be able to do this full time as a career, and also just have the support of the community. Like, I've had tons of messages this week, love and support. So yeah, I really appreciate that. It's been great. And I'm just excited for what comes next. Next year is going to be a really great year for VR by all accounts. Onwards and upwards for both my channel and, of course, this podcast as well. So
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for my milestone being your highlight.
My highlight. I've been thinking about it all week. It's like, it kept me busy.
Yeah, it was nice. You posted pictures of us at the last Oculus Connect that we could go to, I think, together. So that was nice. Looking forward to that happening again. Physical events have been great. And that kind of brings me nicely on to the next guy I want to introduce, because this guy is my EGX buddy. He's the real-life Energizer Bunny, and he just doesn't know how or when to stop. It's the legendary VR streamer. It's, of course, Zimtalk5. How are you doing, dude?
Good. Energized after EGX. EGX was kind of what I was expecting. It very cut back from previous offerings, probably a quarter or a fifth of what it was on the showroom floor. But on the flip side of that, the reason I go to these things is the people. And man, we had a drove of people there. Like I felt like at one stage we were a nice big circle wagon gathering, on the showroom floor at EGX, right there at the entrance, so you couldn't miss us. But it was lovely having dinner with people, just meeting people who I hadn't met before. People like getting to meet Doc and Cold and a whole bunch of other guys who I'd never seen before, Steve Knowles for example. And then it was pretty epic to have Buck and a bunch of lads kind of put together a ring round of Space Pirate Trainer. We got a big chunk of the entrance area dedicated, and 2 days running had Space Pirate Trainer games going. So that was great to see. And I kind of want what I want to see from places like EGX is for them to kind of wise up to VR and put someone like that or a series of competitors on a stage. And I think that, and then have a big screen showing what gameplay is going on. It would be an amazing spectacle. It would blow people's minds. They'd come in looking to look at a Virtual Boy and play some indie games, and they'd look at this thing and go, holy shit, that's real? They're actually doing that? Like people who had no idea that even, VR was worthwhile.
Yeah, that's
so
interesting.
That's what I
that hasn't ever happened, right? Like I remember if you went to E3 or Gamescom or some big like gaming convention, like you remember the blue versus green, Xbox and PlayStation always being next to each other and then trying to see how many gamers they could get to their booth. We haven't seen that with VR yet, and there will be a point that they have to also do that. They have to sit next to each other because otherwise they're going to lose consumers, on their end.
The closest that I've seen, and unfortunately I had one of those failed moments of where you take your phone and you tap record and you record the awesome thing and then you go to press it at the end and then it starts recording and you go, oh no, I missed it. That would have been millions of views. Was like an older woman and her daughter both standing on an articulated lift, right? One that accordions upwards like this, a shaking thing. They had these cheap VR headsets on. It looked like a Quest, but it wasn't a Quest. And they were both screaming as this thing was shaking on some kind of excitement VR trip. And there was a crowd of, I'm not joking, probably 70 people laughing in stitches because they had no idea what was going on around them and everyone was just gawking. So I would love to see stuff even like that, whether it's a scary thing or whatever. We had tastes of that at a few different conventions, but even that, the fear factor of VR is hilarious to watch from the outside. So looking forward to that coming. The best they had was Fall Guys. They did have a pretty cool, anyone's a Fall Guys fan, where you could like run up a mountain and I was actually surprised. There were some really fit feckers there, like able to run up this thing 30 times in whatever it was, 3 minutes, 5 minutes they had to do it. But nothing for VR really. Not a huge footprint for VR, a couple of games, Fruity Systems, and that was about it. I put my face in a Virtual Boy. I was happy about that. So that was my VR bit ticked.
Like you say, everyone, it was like the whole UK VR scene was in one place. Like everyone who creates content online or is a streamer in VR was there. It was great to meet them all. And also like, for me, it was like great meeting Paradise Decay, like PD, like he's a mod of ours.
First time.
He's a big cheerleader of all our channels individually. He's a big supporter of VR in general, and it was great just to finally meet him and just give him.
You never met him before. This is the first time.
I hadn't either, but the weird thing is, I didn't even consider it there, Mike, because I feel like I know the guy. Like when you see him enough and you interact for years, you feel like you know and that's why I didn't list him. But yeah, PD, I forgot. It was our first hug as well.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Yeah, great to be together again at events. Can't wait for more of that. 100%.
Yeah. Thank God the world's coming back to life finally.
Yeah. Thank God indeed. So next up, if we're all pinkies, he's definitely the brains. He's the mad scientist of the group. It's the one and only Rowdy guy. How you doing, dude? You all right?
I'm doing all right. I actually managed to. It's been quite a successful week for VR in general. So, we managed to actually play some decent games. And I actually have a highlight, which you guys might not expect was my highlight for this week. Since, of course, like I saw in the chat already, I saw a lot of people play Lone Echo 2, and I was one of them as well. I saw that David Peters is currently still playing the original Lone Echo. And I saw that Chris Stacy was playing Lone Echo 2. And also he's enjoying Eye of the Temple. So a lot of people have been diving into Lone Echo 2. We're going to dive into that later as well. And I saw Paradise Decay. He mentioned Hubris VR. It was one of his highlights. It's got graphics and atmosphere to die for. I saw someone also playing Far Cry 6, but he also luckily played Flight Sim 2020 in VR. So Water UK is still going
redeemed
on the
himself.
VR grind. Yeah, exactly. But my highlight this week was actually I played Song in the Smoke, and I really, really enjoyed that game. I think it's something like I think there's like 3 genres of games that I really enjoy. One of them is, like you all know, is like it's story-driven, long single player, like Lone Echo 2, for example. Those are games I really enjoy. The other one is strategy games. I've been saying that a couple of times on the podcast as well. I would like to see that more in VR. And another genre is indeed like more that survival genre, like Subnautica is, like Sheltered, like those kind of like resource management kind of games where you need to try and survive. And I think that Song in the Smoke, even though it feels like a fairly simple concept, much like Subnautica is in a way a very simple concept as well. You need to survive, and the story is maybe not all that great, or like Sim, nobody cares about the story and just goes their own way. So that is something that is really well done on Song in the Smoke as well. So you start out with like some weird crow. You walk around a little bit, you pick up some rocks, you pick up some stone, and it just feels really well done. Very straightforward. Not a lot of hand holding. You kind of like get dropped in the scene, and then it just says survives, and all of a sudden you're chased by, I don't know, velociraptor kind of creatures. You're shooting deer left, right, and center. You're taking their guts out to make some bowstring, and it's a really cool game. And I think I played for it this week like roughly 4 hours or something, and I only did like the tutorial.
Wow.
So
that sounds
seriously
right?
like my plan was to go to EGX and every night play Song in the Smoke, and I did an hour, but I underestimated chasing 3 Bambinos around London, so I was conked out most of those nights. Even me, Mr. Energizer Bunny. But like Rowdy, I found the tutorial to be a little bit overwhelming. That they throw a lot at you. It's like, here's thing 1, here's thing 2, here's thing 3. Yeah. And I'm like, when you get to like thing 18, you're like, am I supposed to remember all of this? Are you going to remind me later? Like, it's like, it's a little bit much.
Everything, because it's just very basic.
So you get like an extensive tutorial, but there is like still stuff that
I couldn't figure out how to save the game.
Save the game?
Like, I was like 2 hours in, I was like, how the heck do I save this bloody thing? It says like,
that's the whole point. You've got to live in there now. Yeah,
exactly. It says something like you can save at campfires, and I only had like one campfire that I found somewhere. It's like, where do I find these bloody campfires? And then I realized, like 2 hours, 3 hours in, that I had to make the campfires myself. So I had to collect stones, and I had to like put them together, make a little campfire, put the fire on there, get like bark. It took me like 40 minutes or something to make a save point.
So you got to collect your own save games. You got to craft your save games.
It is funny.
Really
it does feel. I'm curious because you're a fair bit beyond me. How does the combat feel to you, Rowdy? Is it?
It's very rudimentary, like very simple. I wouldn't say that it's one of the strengths of the game. Of course, like I said, like I played like 4 hours of tutorial, and I only ran into like I only ran into like one creature. Well, I mean, I shot some deer. That's what I did. And I got their skin off to make some clothes and stuff like that. Nice. So I got that, and I also like. All of a sudden, it got like really dark in the night, and I was so smart not to bring a torch. So it was like bloody dark, and all of a sudden, I heard like some screeching thing behind me that was running up to me, and that like freaked me out. So I ran out, and it was this kind of like velociraptor like kind of screecher thing that looked horrifying. I shot some arrows.
I look forward to doing more of this. It does. From all the reports I've heard, you have to survive. You have to pay attention.
It feels like a survival game. Like it really feels like a good one as well. You have hunger. You have sleep. You have like a lot of parameters you need to like keep on filled, and meanwhile you craft your way up to like better things. It's well done. It's very well done.
Sounds like my everyday life. Managing hunger and sleep and trying not to get killed by my appendix.
But who goes like? Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a dangerous one too, Rowdy. Watch out for that one. It's sneaking up to you as well.
That'd be amazing. You have to cut your own appendix out.
Oh, what the hell? But Rowdy, who goes to sleep at night? Without hanging their food in the trees. You forgot the most important thing.
I died of hunger so many times, almost. Like it was always like just on the edge. But yeah,
very cool. Like the game. Great suggestion. I haven't played it myself yet, but you've got me hyped for it. So very cool. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Mike, host of the show. My highlight was Lone Echo 2, but we're going to be talking about that much later on in the show, so I'll save that for then. But one thing I do want to say is I want to say thank you for all the awesome feedback from our last episode, which marked our return to the show after having some time off. We had some really lovely comments left on the video, and I've picked a few of my favorites to read out to say thank you. So here's one from El Shaddai. And they said, I'm so glad you guys are back and refreshed. I missed this podcast terribly. I understand why you took time off, and I'm glad you did. I want to tell you all from the bottom of my heart that I appreciate all that you do. I really look forward to future episodes from you, and thank you so much. Stay safe and healthy, my brothers. Very, very nice. message of support there. We've got one from DKVR, and they say, this new format is really slick. Loving the quality between the cameras is the same and really clear. Also, liking the energy. Everything was getting in there, and the opinions were different, and points were argued. Definitely worthy of a 2.0. So yeah, thank you very much for your comment. Really appreciate it. And then the final comment is from Pump Up the Volume, who just asks, I'm not finding Nathy's rock channel on YouTube. Can you help me find it? Sadly, it doesn't exist, but maybe it will in the future. Who knows?
What the heck?
I already said I would sub. I would sub.
You would sub?
I would sub.
Maybe I should do it.
Maybe just painting rocks.
You could be the new Bob Ross. You know? Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it's true.
Nathy Ross. So before we get into the news, I should probably thank our first sponsor of this week's show. Are you fed up with itchy face? Oh God, let me start again.
Itchy face. Yes.
I messed it up.
Oh, okay.
Let me start again. Game face.
Poker face.
Are you fed up of itchy material face cushions that just soak up sweat when you're in VR? Well, our friends at VRCover are here to help, as they make a range of replacement facial interface kits for practically every consumer VR headset available on the market. These replacement facial interface kits feature 2 soft pleather face pads, which can easily be wiped clean after each use. And they also use Velcro to attach these pads to the interface so they can be easily swapped out on the fly. I absolutely love these replacement facial interface kits from VRCover, and I actually have them on all my VR headsets, as it's nice, as it's like having a nice pillow strapped to your face. Just absolutely lovely.
Pillow.
Yeah, a mic pillow strapped to your face. If you're interested in leveling up your VR headset, check out the link in the description down below for VRCover's official website. So yeah, thanks to them for sponsoring the show. Epic sponsor. Love their products.
Yeah, they're lovely.
So let's get into the news, starting with a quick announcement, as there were 2 very special birthdays last week on the 13th of October. Any guesses as to whose birthdays it was?
No one here.
Wasn't yours, right?
Wasn't my birthday, no.
Okay.
So it was actually the Oculus Quest 2's birthday and the original PlayStation VR's birthday, both on the same day, 13th of October. So the Oculus Quest 2 has been out in the wild for a whole year now. Pretty amazing, really. It pushed VR forward to reach a whole new audience that we'd never really seen before in VR. So that was pretty epic. And we've also got some great releases to look forward to coming later this year. So it's still holding on strong. And then we had the PlayStation VR, a bit old in the tooth now, but celebrated its 5th year since it originally released way back in 2016. Can't believe it's been 5 years since PSVR came out.
It's insane.
That's crazy.
You know what's most impressive about that is the fact that it stayed interesting. Well, now it's kind of, on its end, but it stayed interesting for a long time. Like a lot of headsets and their games don't have, that same,
retention.
It's also because of the content, of course, that they're released that takes full advantage of. Because we've said that many times that we feel like sometimes the headsets and the tech that is in there is a little bit underused. And I think what they did with the PSVR is really maximize the potential of that headset.
Yeah, 100%. And although, like you say, the interest has kind of died off a little bit now, because I know that the market is aware that something is bubbling for next year. And I do think that PlayStation are going to really make the most epic comeback next year. And I'm all for that. But I think that discussion deserves a whole dedicated show for that. We'll talk about that in the future.
One comment. I was looking at the launch trailer and I was like, oh yeah, these are all these great games from ages ago. Oh, and there's Gollum, which released last year.
No.
But the one that stood out to me was actually Robinson, The Journey, because I still think that in the last 3 years, we really haven't had a really sound dinosaur game. And I know I'm saying this in the middle of having just had a dinosaur game for Quest, but that had a different kind of expansive feel to it, and the scale, like in Arc, that game for PC VR, and then in this on PSVR, those games just really made you feel the size and scale of dinosaurs. True. And I would love to see another game that really does that in more of an open plan. I'd love to see something where you actually get to go to Isla, whatever it's called, and wander around the park, in Jurassic Park. Something that's not as confined as what we just did.
Yeah, I do think we can expect something from Crytek For sure, because I mean, you're not gonna tell me they're gonna make another climb game. I think that's, we've seen that now. Maybe do like climb mechanics in a Robinson game, because that's how the climb, started in the first place, because of Robinson the Journey. So maybe switch it around now.
Wasn't it called The Island on PC VR or something?
Yeah, it was like a demo experience, like the Island 1 and the Island 2. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, to celebrate their birthday, PlayStation actually shared some interesting information about the top globally played VR games on their platform by total playtime hours. So I thought I'd do a little rundown of them to share them.
Let me guess. On number 1, we're gonna all make a guess here.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I would say, Beat Saber. Duh.
Well, it's not number 1.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a different guess.
Like, I mean, does Resident Evil 7 count?
It's in there.
What is?
I think that would be.
Huge. What was the on roller coasters experience? Rush of Blood. I would suspect that's up there. Okay, no. All
right. Astro could also.
It's got to be something like one of the original sets that was around
not
for
there
ages.
either, which I was surprised about. Yeah. So
it's mostly old stuff, I hear.
Is this Contact Time? Sorry, what is it?
So this is globally played hours in total.
Huh. I wish Contractors was up there. That game deserves it.
Not. Yeah. Well, it is in the US, because they also broke it down into regions. So US, Japan, and Europe. And in the US, Firewall was on the list, but
it's quite
globally,
telling, isn't it, Mike? That's quite telling.
Didn't quite make it. Yeah.
Too many guns.
But let me give you the rundown then.
All
so
right,
in at number 5, Resident Evil 7 VR.
Yep.
Okay.
In at number 4, Zim's favorite, Skyrim VR.
Oh, well, how could I not even say that? Jesus. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave.
No Man's Sky is probably in there as well then. No.
No Man's Sky.
Wow.
No Man's Sky.
This is
No Man's Sky either.
No. Number 3 surprised me, and that's PlayStation VR Worlds.
Okay, yeah, but that's a demo that's coming with.
It's sold with a lot.
Why isn't that on number 1? I would ask, but okay.
Please don't tell me it's VR demo discs, because if it's the VR demo discs, then you can back off.
Blood and Truth.
That's not it, is it? No.
No. Number 2 was Beat Saber.
Okay.
And number 1, I'm surprised Nathan didn't get this because he's drinking from their mug.
Oh,
Rec Room.
Rec Room, of course.
Yeah.
Of
number
course.
1.
Yeah.
So they're the official stats from PlayStation for top globally played VR games on the PlayStation platform since its release.
Sense, actually,
yeah.
So yeah, happy birthday to both Oculus Quest 2 and PSVR. Looking forward to seeing your brothers in the future.
Brothers and sisters.
Yeah. So let's get into some new hardware then, because this is where things get a little bit interesting, because we had on Thursday, the 14th of October, HTC finally unveiled what they've been teasing for the last few weeks. And sadly, it wasn't a tracked VR thermos flask. I was quite devastated about that.
I still want that.
That would have been a better device, I think.
I would have 100% bought one. I would have 100% bought one.
Yeah, same here. No, that's like a lit thing. Someone who's watching this, listening, make it. Seriously, you're going to make a lot of money. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, maybe we should make it the F.Reality tracked drinks container.
Yeah, sounds good.
But instead, it wasn't a thermos flask. It was a brand new small form factor standalone VR headset called the HTC Vive Flow, which HTC are referring to as immersive glasses.
Yeah.
So straight away, this isn't a Quest 2 competitor, and it's not for gamers. So, the reception from the enthusiast community and the gaming community has been pretty savage, to be honest.
Negative, yeah.
And The Verge, the tech sort of outlet online, this is what their tagline was for their article about it. And they said that the HTC Vive Flow is VR for people who don't like VR. And I think, to be fair, I don't think that's actually too far from the truth. Like I said, this product isn't really aimed at us.
No.
It's not aimed at gamers. It's not aimed at
who is it aimed at? Because someone who doesn't like VR is not going to buy this either.
Oh, but I see what you mean. Like the mainstream crowd out there isn't interested in necessarily VR yet. So they're saying there is no audience to be found yet to be liking something like this. Is that kind of what they mean?
So this is the target market, right? The target market are people that are looking for a small and lightweight device in a small form factor to provide an immersive experience for consuming media, socializing with friends or colleagues, or for unwinding with VR apps to relax and calm the mind. So the target demographic is very, very small, I would say, straight off the bat. And I think that's where the Verge were going with that tagline, is that probably this headset is aimed at people that don't own a VR headset already, and this is going to be a new product to them. But how they reach that market, I don't know. But we'll talk more about that later, and I can briefly sort of go over the specs, because there are some quite interesting specs to this headset and some quite unique features that we've not seen on any other headset so far. Yeah. So bear with me. First off, it's super lightweight, weighing in at just 189 grams. So it's very, very light indeed. To give you some context, the Quest 2 is around 500 grams. So we're talking like less than half the weight of the Quest 2.
Old Nokia phones were like 130 grams for comparison.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So super lightweight and small. It features dual LCD displays with a resolution of 1600 by 1600 pixels per eye, running at 75 hertz with a 100-degree field of view. So not too bad, not too great, nothing groundbreaking, but for its form factor, I think it's very impressive. This is where things
refresh rate as well. No,
75. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be make more sense to do like the Go did with like 72, especially
Possibly.
if it's a media device?
Well, maybe that's specifically why they chose that number, because maybe it works better for certain content. I don't know.
Yeah, 75 was an odd number.
72 would, because it's a plural of
a multiplier
24.
Of, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so unusual design choice there, but who knows what the rationale behind that is. Not 100% sure. But where things get even more interesting is that it has pancake lenses. So not Fresnel lenses that we see in traditional VR headsets. Pretty much every modern VR headset has Fresnel lenses, but they've gone with pancake lenses. This is because they're smaller, and the distance between the lens and the display can actually be smaller as well and fit into this kind of like form factor. And they also say that this choice is due to the main sort of use case for this device, which is media consumption, because it has less glare. And you don't, because like Fresnel lenses have concentric rings, you do get glare sometimes, whereas pancake lenses are clearer, so you don't get that effect.
Exactly.
Something else that's really, really cool about this headset that I did really like, I've actually tried one, by the way, but I'll talk more about my hands-on time with it very shortly, is that around the pancake lenses are dials, and these are individual diopter adjustment dials. And this means that if you wear glasses, you can actually dial in your individual eye prescription up to -6. So this means that you can use this device without having to wear your corrective eyeglasses.
That is cool.
Or
I
wear
like
contact
that.
lenses.
Yeah.
Also,
cool.
the fact that the adjustment can be made to each eye individually.
Individually.
My correction in each eye is different. And so seeing that, it's the first time I've actually kind of like copped it. All right, I didn't know about that technology, actually, that was even possible, that was an option that was out there. And it's very important. It's like immediately I want that in every headset going forward. And
100%.
That's amazing. When you can launch a product and drop a feature that should now become the standard, and may serve as the Reddit wine when new headsets then drop over the next year and product managers are going, damn it, why didn't we think of that? I love that. I love that when a product manages to do that. So that was a really nice surprise. Also, the size of the devices is so small.
Yeah. So really cool feature, that diopter adjustment. Another feature it has removable material face gaskets, which are held in place using magnets. And this is designed so you can swap them out, but also take them off completely, because you can wear this device without the gasket. So you have an option. You can be completely immersed in your experience, or you can have some peripheral awareness. If you're wearing this on a train or a plane, you don't want to miss the snack cart going by. You can take the material gasket off, and you still have an idea of what's going on around you for. And I think if you're going to be wearing this out in the wild, that's probably a smart way to use a device like this. So, it does clearly thought about it.
If you put it on, it does kind of look like you're wearing like a face mask with the glasses over it. Like, you know what I mean? Like those mouth masks, and then if you look at it, like it's full, like it almost covers it. You're in for it.
One thing about the looks of the device, I mean, it's a pity that you can't, because they look like fashionable sunglasses. But they can't, at the moment, I don't believe, operate in that way. I know there's some pass-through capability that's either in the device or coming, but I haven't seen what that looks like. If it's in full color, or is it mono? because they do have those cameras in the front that are quite small, but I think you're going to end up with something like what you have with Quest, which is a pass-through mono image.
Yeah, initially in my video, I said that it didn't have pass-through, but apparently it does have some light pass-through features, but we just haven't seen that yet. Also, those cameras provide 6 degrees of freedom head tracking, and they also enable...
Did you say head or hair tracking?
He said hair tracking.
Hair
right?
tracking.
Did he say hair tracking?
I want 6
tracking?
degrees of
I
freedom
think it
hair
sounds like
tracking.
hair. I'm like, what is hair tracking?
I don't know what is wrong with me today. I can't get my words out.
Wow.
6 degrees of freedom head tracking, and it's probably because I was confusing head tracking and hand tracking, but yeah, so it's got 6 degrees of freedom head tracking, but hand tracking functionality is going to be a feature that's going to be part of this headset, but it's not enabled at launch.
Yeah. And so as far as I understand, the device has on the face of it, underneath the glasses, if you want to call it that, which I think is just it's a faux front for no benefit other than to pick up fingerprints and look cool.
Just looks cool.
But it also allows the cameras to kind of see out. There's only 2 cameras, I think. There aren't 4 or 5.
That's just 2.
It's just 2. Yeah.
So
I'm thinking that for example, the hand tracking element is going to have to be in front of you, not at your lap level. It seems
it's not going to have the tracking volume as the Quest 2 does. So alongside all this, it doesn't have a built-in battery. Well, it has a very small built-in battery, very, very small. It's only there to keep the headset going as you swap over your own power supplies, which you have to provide yourself in the form of a battery pack. And they recommend that's the way you would do it. So that's what the USB-C port is at the end of the glasses arms. That's where you connect your own battery to it to power it.
Regarding ports, because we had a question from Dr. English. Does the Vive Flow have a headphone jack for use on a plane, for instance?
It doesn't. You have to Bluetooth. And it's Bluetooth LE.
Yeah, it does have built-in 3D spatial audio in the arms of the glasses, which, in my hands-on experience was actually pretty decent, but it does bleed out to everyone around you, so it's not an ideal use case for a plane. But you can, like Zim rightly said, you can connect your own Bluetooth headphones to this. So
but I do have to say, I do like the design of this.
Design, amazing.
It's great. It's
Form
of course
factor,
it's
amazing.
big, but I mean it's very hard to make something super small and still have all those features in it. But I would wear this. I would wear this if I would sit on a bench or something. I'm like, it looks kind of nice. Looks kind of badass. You're still gonna look like a geek, just saying. But I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there.
But you're gonna look like a geek that's got some money.
Yes.
I think you either like it or you don't. But I do appreciate them going from a certain design that looks like.
Well, yeah, that's
like they had something in mind, like Mike, you're a glasses wearer yourself, right? Occasionally, at least. How do you find the comfort of the device?
Yeah, I found it comfortable, and I should say that I only got to try it for like 5-10 minutes. I just watched a movie trailer in it. The display looked sharp and clear. Audio was actually really good. I actually thought the built-in audio.
In terms of like weight distribution,
it mainly sits on your ears and your nose. So you don't with like the Quest 2, it's sort of mainly sort of spread over your face and your cheeks. But this is predominantly on your nose and your ears.
And they try to compensate with that because it's as they show in the video that we're running, there's a bit of a clamping effect at the back. So imagine 2 pads at the back and it's meant to kind of hold at the back of your head and then hold on your nose. So it's balancing between that. But what I saw, and I think this is what Rowdy's getting at, because anyone who uses even headphones, like on-ear headphones, for example, that aren't circumaural, or heavy sunglasses for an extended period of time, or test room glasses, you end up, with that lovely indent in your ear, and it gets painful after a while, right? Uncomfortable. So when I saw this, I was kind of like, nearing on 200 grams, resting on the ears. It doesn't look like the kind of device I'd be able to wear for more than an hour. Just by the look and feel of it. So that I'm concerned about. The other thing that I think is for a product that's priced at $500 or looking at the UK market, £500, that's a lot of cash actually for a device, particularly when the competition out there looks, is VR. But I think this is really establishing a new market. Now it's not brand new.
It's see it as an early adopter product, right? In that sense.
So like for me and my wife, for example, she was like, "Ooh, that looks interesting." Like we had as a media device that you would use on and travel on the go and stuff. One of the problems I have with Quest is it's so big. And also, if you've gone from, let's say on a plane, use of a Go, which is 3 DOF, to a Quest, which is 6DoF, you find that there aren't so many titles that suit 3DoF and you sitting in a seat. Like Beat Saber is not a thing to play on a plane, okay? And there's plenty of other things that you just can't. So this device looks really tidy in terms of its size and all that. The case, I have to say, I don't like the case. It looks too chunky. It looks fat. Like it would be difficult to put that in a bag or something like that and not have it take up an inordinate amount of space. Yeah. It really looks unfortunate. I wish there was a case that was more like an eyeglasses case that would close over it. That would be easier to slip into a bag.
Well, if it was a charger in that sense, where it was like a battery on its own, you could then it would make sense. But it is kind of big. But it's also like the shape of these things. Like I think you underestimate how big they are when you have to actually slide them into something.
Yeah,
you do need some good buckets for this kind of stuff.
You make a really good point about like it charging it at the same time, because that's what the Facebook Ray-Bans did pretty well. Is that when you put them in the case, they charge them at the same time.
Yeah. I just got to try those, by the way, over the week at EGX, and actually I thought that those were way more compelling once I had them on. Now the Facebook thing is still the anchor that drags it down, in my opinion. I don't really want to be sharing data in that way. But actually, as the form factor, how it works, how it plays back, how it captures, all of those things, it's a pretty nifty device. And actually, the case in that case isn't too big.
But that's the thing that doesn't do much.
Lets it down as well.
Yeah.
For what it is, though, it's a fashion tech device, isn't it? Whereas this one is a tech fashion device.
But going back to sort of like
that's true.
Power, obviously, like I said, you have to supply your own battery pack. They don't ship you on with this device when you buy it. They will be selling an official HTC branded battery pack, which is 10,000 milliamp hour. And they said that using that connected to the headset will last about 5 hours of continual use.
But it should be included, I guess.
This is what I was going to say. This package, right, for $500, even if they made it $600, right, you'd expect to have a charger in there, like something to actually be able to use the device. The case is included, so that's okay. And there was a third thing I was thinking about.
The case isn't included unless you pre-order.
Okay, sorry, you're right. Yeah, so only the pre-orders get it. I see. This is
so later. So
it
later
feels like
down,
a bit of an empty device.
Later down the road, you would have to also buy that. How much would that be? Like 20.
And I haven't even got to the best bit.
$60, I think.
Yet, because so far you need an extra battery pack.
Yeah.
Right. You need a case to look after it if you're taking it out with you on the go.
Yep.
And this is where things get really interesting. You also need, because obviously hand tracking isn't enabled when it launches, you need an Android smartphone to use it. It doesn't support iOS. It doesn't support PC.
Okay.
So
but the fact that you need a phone is not necessarily a surprising thing. I mean, that makes sense for this kind of stuff.
Not including iOS.
But not like a specific phone, and you have to buy, if you don't have that phone, then... But if you already have
an Android, like no,
I don't have an Android. If you do have an Android, then it's not a problem. But for us who have an iPhone, then it's like, why? Like, I'm not gonna buy, like, for no device. It doesn't matter if it's Vive Flow or my washing machine. I'm not gonna buy an Android phone.
You're cutting off half the market with that decision, and that's I saw a lot of people saying, like, why don't you do, for example, what Oculus did with that little flat battery controller that shipped with CV1.
Little freed-off controller.
Love that little thing. And the thing is, you'd have to, even if it was an optional purchase outside of the core package for 15 quid, that would make sense, right?
Although it does
allow your iPhone users to actually interact with the device. The battery I can get over. I can get over it. But for me, this is a device where, just like with the DK1, I saw it and I was like, ooh, new product, really cool tech. I'll wait for V2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the same thing here, because the price will come down. It'll get sleeker, sexier, easier. And I think they'll learn from this launch. And I hope they do make another one, or another competitor comes out with something like this, because this category is really cool. I want something to be able to use on the go.
But what about the tech that they're showing is so new in this device? Because isn't it a lot of rather old tech?
It is a lot of old tech, because the chipset in it is actually the XR1.
The lenses are old lenses. The displays are old displays.
The diopter is interesting. I would say that's
the diopter is interesting. I agree.
But I agree. It's
design is new.
Old tech,
And we do need to, like, you do need to keep in mind that this is not the first time we have seen, VR glasses before. You know, there have been VR glasses coming out last year. There, like, I found one from, I saw like E- and some other people try it, like from LG from 2016. Even back then you had them. Of course, it got a little bit better. But this is not the first time you see these kinds of things. Although, like with the stuff that they're offering in terms of what you can do with it is of course a bit more thought through.
Honestly, there's two very good use cases for this, right? And the first one that I can think of is just Netflix. But I do find the whole package as an end user, right? The thing I liked about Quest, just to compare real quick, is how easy it is to pick up and use it. You can pick it up and use it in like 10 seconds. That was the thing that just changed the market for me, because VR used to be like 2 minutes to set up and get in. This thing looks easy to use, but you have to have it, connected to your phone to use that controller. You have to have it connected to a battery and have that sat somewhere on your side, in a pocket, in a bag, or whatever. So it just feels like a very cumbersome package. I really like the product entry. I will definitely be buying something like this in the future, but this one I have to let go because the price is it's extortionate. Even as an Android user, I couldn't justify the amount of times I'd pick this up and actually use it. But Netflix, for example, I would love to see what that looks like in this display. How are the displays and how was the build quality, Mike? Because those are the two things that I'm kind of curious about.
Yeah, good. I would say, I was sitting there watching a movie trailer, and it wasn't an immersive VR environment that I was in. It was just a black void. I don't know if you've ever used virtual desktop before. You've just got different options for your surroundings, and the black void being one of them. But I would have preferred to have more options.
Like what Netflix has, where you've got like the virtual couch and TV in front of you. And that makes a difference. It actually feels like a better quality. You have the ambient lighting that flickers off of things, and maybe that'll come, right? I mean, there are a few devs who've had obviously hands on to this and have, jumped with launch, which is great to see. What about build quality? Did it feel like it was something you could easily break?
I didn't know. It didn't feel like you could easily break it. If you threw it on the floor, it's probably going to do some damage because especially those like mirrored sections at the front would probably likely break. But everything else, I reckon.
So the front is more like a way to protect what's behind it, right? And also to have a see-through kind of thing going on for later.
It's more of a design choice.
Yeah, it's like the front.
Okay. It's cool.
Yeah, because something has to look through it maybe in the future, right?
No, it's literally there just for design purposes.
Okay. So
wait. The two cameras in the front do look through that glass.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Right, but I'm with you, Mike. It's a aesthetic.
In terms of what you can actually do with this thing, they're really pushing relaxation and meditation and unwinding with apps like Visitations and Trip and those kind of applications. And they're also sort of saying, you could lie down in bed with it because obviously it doesn't have a back.
That's my favorite part of you have this trailer and someone is laying in bed. I love that. If I have these, I want to just replicate that scene. Yeah.
Remember, I said this last week. Lying down with VR equipment right now is not easy. I still default back to Go. So comparing it to like a Go screen or a Quest, how was the resolution and all that? Because it's 1600 or something per eye. It's not terribly high.
When you're just watching a movie, it doesn't really matter so much. For me, it seemed comparable to what I'm used to with the Quest, even though it is lower. On paper, it is lower, but it was good enough, to sit there and enjoy a movie and not be like, oh, there's a pixel here, there's a pixel there. So in that sense, I thought it looked good. I just wish there was more VR to the environment rather than just this black void. But yeah, so it looked good. It felt comfortable from the short period of time I had it on. But like you say, how it would stand up to hours and hours, I don't know.
One thing that I really like about the design, and I wanted to, because it flagged a risk to me, which I asked RJ, this developer who's been working with the device. So for the Flow, it's got active cooling. Some of you might remember who had an Oculus Go, which had passive cooling, the issues it had about shutting down. Getting too hot and all of that. Then Quest brought back in active cooling, and most Quests are, I'll call them silent or relatively silent. If you've got one that's noisy, you probably should send it back. This one also has active cooling. It's really interesting. They have a vented mechanism which draws in air across your face and out the device, which they show in the trailer again. But I was nervous again about sound because you've got soundbar audio as your default. So I asked RJ, I said, hey, is the fan audible? And his position on it was it's inaudible. just above that bar. So
which is
you
great.
You found the same, Mike? You didn't hear the fan at all?
I found the same, and especially because like coming from the Focus 3, you know, that thing had like a pretty loud fan, which I thought was unacceptable, you know, for a standalone product. Yeah. It was too loud for me. Whereas this was, like you say, I couldn't hear it. But then again, I was outside when I was using it. I should point that out. But in terms of use cases, like the main use case obviously is like you said, Zim, watching Netflix and that kind of content, like content from YouTube. It also supports VR 180 and 360 content from YouTube as well. So that's pretty interesting. But most of this content is going to be casted using Miracast from your Android device. These aren't apps that are built into the headset itself. And one of the things is, like, funnily enough, Guy Godin is in the chat, but one of the things I said was that, you know, Virtual Desktop, in my opinion, would be a killer app for this because it doesn't have any PC to Flow streaming support at launch. And I'm like, well, as I don't have an Android phone and I'm an iPhone user, it doesn't have PC support. I physically can't use this device. So I think it's
I see what you mean there. And it also automatically makes this headset more intelligent than it initially is, right? Because now what it sounds to me like is it's almost like back in the days when you had like a Samsung Gear VR and you had these apps and stuff and they were running from your phone as well. It's like an upgraded version of that now. But with Virtual Desktop, you really add like interesting tools to it and make it, let's say, you can turn it into a headset that you can also use for work. I know they want to go for relaxation, but if you then want to work or do other stuff, that's kind of interesting.
I think as well, like the problem is if they're saying you should use this device on the go, like they're saying like, and I had to ask this question a couple of times, like, who is this for? Like, how are people going to use this? Because I couldn't initially get my head around it. And they were like, you know, traveling, you know, on a train or on a plane maybe, or in a hotel that you're staying at for business or whatever. And that kind of makes sense. But I was kind of thinking if I was on a plane, so I've got to charge two devices before I go. I've got this battery pack that I need to plug this headset into, and then I'm casting from my phone.
Sorry, three devices, right?
3 devices. Sorry. Because so now I'm draining the battery of 3 devices simultaneously. 2 devices. Sorry, the battery pack and the phone whilst I'm using it. So after a while, both devices are going to be dead. So I'm not going to have a phone or a headset. So
because you're also using your phone just like before you hop on let's say, for example, a plane. You're going to use your phone maybe also just as a phone and not all the time as you want to switch around. It's like, oh, someone is calling me. Okay, let me now do this or things like that. Now I see what you mean, but I do want to point out, and I think Gaming Science Teacher also did that. Is like. And this is the problem we have been talking about every time. Is like HTC makes a product, doesn't really know how to explain it, doesn't know to explain who it's for, where it's going and stuff like that. This time, at least, they got right that we know it's not for consumers. They nowhere said that, so they were pretty clear about that for the first time ever. But
it is for consumer.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. For consumers. Sorry, I'm the other.
Not business. Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is like they're clear about, let's say, the group of that. But the thing is, like, again, and I'm repeating myself every time when I say this, is like in China, these glasses were everywhere. When I was last time when I went to China, like 2 years ago, these kinds of glasses were everywhere. You know, these VR glasses. Huawei was selling these, and LG and Samsung. Everyone is making these glasses already. So that's nothing new. So in the Chinese market, in the Asian market, they're already used to buying these kinds of things. But I feel like the West, in that sense, isn't really ready for this kind of stuff. And especially, as you said, like in the West, a lot of people use iPhone. In the Chinese market, there are a lot of people who use Android. But that's the thing that, you gotta like, I always feel like HTC, or you just completely focus on China first, make it successful there, and then go to the West. But don't try to they're always trying to do both, but you can just see that they're like, I feel like every time they launch a product that has potential, every time it has potential, every time they're close to, we're like, yeah, we're getting there. But then it's like they just don't know who they want to go for, Then you know what I'm saying here. Don't spread it out. Just
for me, it's such a specific market, and I don't understand how they're going to reach that market, because I don't understand how they're going to make these people aware that this product even exists for them to want it. And even then, you're talking about $500 for something that's new and that they may have never used.
I do think
if you look at the event itself, like it's clear that they made a device that is aimed at the Chinese market. Like the focus on meditation, on like, you know, all these kind of like applications that they're highlighting, it's aimed at the Chinese market. But the marketing strategy that they're putting forward is more aimed at a Western market.
Yeah, but
which
like
doesn't.
Yeah, but the thing is, what they do every time is like at HTC headquarters, they come up with a new headset and stuff. They speak it through. They know exactly, because they are, you know, Chinese. So they know what people want in that sense. But then it needs to be translated to the, you know, American side of things. That's like a daughter company, is way smaller, is, I would say, a little bit less professional compared to the Chinese version. So it's all a little bit, you know, kind of trying and thinking and just hoping for the best. I think that's the problem here.
The only realistic market that I can see. So when Go and just to contrast, when Go entered the market, right, education or employment for $200, $300, whatever, and it was $400 originally, or they'll buy that and they'll say, I'll buy X number and I'll use this for training and I'll use this for a school or whatever. This device, to me, looks like what you would have if you took a Virgin Atlantic trip, you know, across continents, and you sat in first class or business class, and you would get one of these. You would get one of these instead of that TV on screen on the thing, and you'd wear it and you'd be like, haha, look how cool and bling I look, and I'm trying something new. That pizzazz, I could see selling, you know, thousands to airline companies if they weren't, and I know they're still going to be struggling, you know, post-COVID. So that's where I see it. I don't see it in manufacturing. I don't see it, honestly, right now in education. But the V2 of this device does have applications in medical, you know, in hospitals and things like that for pain relief and stuff. I mean, that's one other place where I think that this could enter is if you're a physiotherapist or something to that effect, and you're like, hey, you know, welcome to my premium physiotherapy clinic. I'm going to do my treatment on you, and then to wind down at the end of this, we'll do 15 minutes in this headset. You know, I could see them purchasing one of these.
But what you're saying,
how are they going to learn about it? I think Mike's makes a real point. Those people are not tuned in to VR podcasts. They're not watching wherever HTC is promoting this. They definitely have a problem here about getting the product into those people's hands.
And the problem that I'm seeing here every time is like people are always like, it's not going to sell in the West, and you know, HTC is going to struggle even more. Well, in China, it's huge and they're making loads of money. But I do feel like they're losing more and more of the Western market every time they release a headset. So even if they grow in China, they're kind of losing foot in the West because of them not being able to, you know, approach this more specifically, because that's the thing. Like this could work in the West, but you need to be very, as Mike said, if he is asking this marketing company or the marketing side of their company, who is this for, and they can't explain it, that's the core problem here. You know, they need to do it like where this is going.
They need to do it like Apple, create a niche themselves, create something that and make people aware that they want this.
Maybe that's what
Apple
doing.
has been so good at.
I would like if you answer this question right, how would we market it? I would answer that question by saying I would just flog Netflix. I would show Squid Game or any popular title alongside this device. Someone on a train, someone on a plane. Show that. You know, 30-second to 1 minute trailer, and that's all you do. Just show that one application.
But the thing is, like, let's go, like, they did a live stream, right? And they were showing a lot of stuff. They also did a lot of just talking. And then you have on Twitter, you have, like, I'm sure you know this dude. If not, then, you know, that Shen, he's like one of the, next to Alvin as well, like, you know, really promoting HTC in a good way. So he did a whole thread on Twitter explaining this thing. I'm like, why didn't you put this guy on the live stream? Let this guy explain it. He's an American. He can explain it to you, you know? He knows what... Like he's like, funny enough, he sold this headset more to me than
he's a good guy.
But you know what I mean, right? Like he sells it better on a Twitter thread than what I've seen in a live stream. You know,
too techie.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I do agree, and I think for me personally, if I was HTC, I just would have delayed the launch until I had hand tracking already established. I had iOS support, or some sort of PC streaming functionality, whether it be your own or, you know, using someone like Virtual Desktop and really leveraging their application as, you know, a great use case for your device. That's what I would have done personally.
No, I agree.
One
but everyone is
on that.
rushed as well, right?
The hand tracking that's coming, will that entirely replace the need for use of the phone? Do you know?
Well, it will for controlling it, but not for mirror casting, which is the biggest feature of the phone.
The biggest feature, exactly.
Yeah.
So you still have,
Yeah, because it doesn't have like a native Netflix app.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
And another thing you should be aware of, obviously they're using Miracast, which isn't supported via iPhone, but some premium sports applications and some media platforms don't support Miracast or casting.
They block.
So you've got to be careful as well as to which content you're already subscribed to, whether this is going to be useful or not. But one thing I thought, which would be a really cool use case, and wouldn't be possible, I don't think, but something like if I could use this as a display for my console, if I was sitting in bed and I wanted to play PS5 or some Switch content, and this was acting as the display, and somehow I could wirelessly cast the HDMI connection from those devices with an additional accessory.
Absolutely.
I would be all for it. I'd be all over this.
Bluetooth would probably reach, actually, in most houses, particularly in the UK, maybe America not so much. But you could be sitting in bed with your controller, Xbox, PlayStation controller, and that's a great use case. I really like that.
But yeah, anyway, talking about pricing as we sort of wrap this up, pricing, it's available to pre-order now. They're going to start shipping them at the beginning of November. It's $499 US, 499 British pounds, 549 euros. If you do pre-order, like we said earlier, you do get the carry case for free, and you get 7 pieces of content for free as well.
I see.
But yeah,
I'm scared of
I think we can all agree on that it got rushed, but that's like some people also mentioned this in the chat is because Facebook it like is around the corner to Facebook Connect, right? So they're like, we have to get this out. I think in China they can make up for these kind of like things that aren't there, but in the West I always feel like it's a one-time launch and you just got to shine and make it happen, right?
I think less they're racing against Facebook. I think more they're racing against the holidays. I mean, when you're planning a product release calendar, you plan for holiday sales. I mean, this thing is meant to be production live for consumers into consumers' hands in November, right? And there's a reason for that.
You're right, because the thing is, whatever Facebook is gonna like, if they would make something similar to this in China, you can't sell it anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. An unusual product for an unusual market, and whether they'll reach that market, I have no idea. I do wish them the best of luck, but it's not a product for me anyway. I don't know what happened to to Rowdy there. Okay.
Oh, no, he's fine on my end, so it's probably just artifacts.
So let's talk about Lone Echo 2. Let's move away from hardware, get into software, because as we know, content is king at the end of the day anyway. So Lone Echo 2, it's been in the making for 4 years now. Numerous delays, but it's finally here. Ready at Dawn have delivered and released the game last week on the 12th of October, and it's an Oculus PC exclusive title. And it's going to be the last Oculus PC exclusive title that we see for some time, if not a long time. One thing to know before we get into the game is that although it is an Oculus exclusive title, you can actually play this game on other VR headsets, PC VR headsets, I should stress, using an application called Revive. Revive has been around for a long, long time, but if you're new to the VR scene, you might not be aware of it. So just know that if you've got an Index or a Vive or, a Pimax or whatever it might be, you can play this game using Revive. Just Google it. You'll be able to find it.
It's free, by the way.
And it's free. Yeah.
Revive's great. And it's been around for years if you hadn't heard about it. It's not some hokey piece of software. This has been a pillar of the community for a long time.
Yeah, I'm
so glad this works, by the way. Because not everything works, right? Not over the years, not everything has been revivable, especially just out the gates. But I've heard of a lot of success with this.
Other than the main menu,
improve over time as well.
Yeah. Other than the main menu, when I tested it, it worked in game fine. In the main menu, just to give you a little tip, you do have to do a half trigger pull, and that activates the menu buttons. It can be a bit confusing at first.
Half instead of full, in order to
half instead of full. To activate the menus. Once you're in game, everything works exactly how it should, using the Valve Index controllers anyway in my testing.
Cool.
By the way, Palmer Luckey, I think, invested money into Revive, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, correct.
I think I remember that a couple of years ago.
Yeah. But anyway, Lone Echo 2 follows on directly from the events of the original Lone Echo. So if you haven't played that game already, go and complete the original game first before jumping into the sequel, because you need to know what's going on. Yeah,
it's more enjoyable too that way, I would say. Yeah,
100%.
And it's still even up to today, like it's like Half-Life Alyx. Like you can play that game today still, and it still looks great.
Yeah, but sometimes you can skip a game and just kind of go to the next one. But in this case, you really have to, because you're going to have no idea what's going on in the second one.
Exactly. Yeah. We're going to try to avoid any spoilers, by the way, so you can keep listening. If we get into spoiler territory, then we'll obviously give you a warning and let you know, because we don't want to spoil anything for you, because it's an amazing game. So who's played it here? Have we all played it?
Yep.
Played it, not finished it. Yeah.
Finished.
I played the first couple of hours, I think I played. Yeah.
Zim's finished.
Yeah.
I finished. What about Nathan?
I finished it too. Yeah.
Ooh, 3 of us.
How many hours are we talking? Like, I spend 9 hours to finish this game.
Yeah, it's a long game.
9,
it's
really?
a long game.
That's a good one.
I might have lost track of time, but I was thinking I was clocking it at 6. And for me, that's
I bet you put in longer. Zim, you are the one person out of all this group that will spend way more time looking and analyzing it like a piece of scenery than any of us. So I would say that Zim
what I
definitely
was
put more
going
time
to
than
do,
6 hours.
And because Guy is in chat, I can moan a little bit. I haven't been able to work out why, when I'm on a different network, what my plan was from the hotel in London was to leave my PC running, connect, and play Lone Echo while I was in London. I was going to be like, that's going to be an amazing story.
Yeah.
But it just wouldn't work. And I tested it locally before that, but I don't know. I must have missed something. Others who've struggled with Virtual Desktop, when you get it working, and having played from California to Scotland and played London to Scotland before successfully, I was just disappointed I didn't get to this time. But I played it at home, and it's a very good title. And I have to echo what you 3 lads have already said. But play the first one, because it's a continuity in that story is actually quite important here.
But you still didn't explain why you spent 6 hours, because that to me feels like a speed run. I don't know why.
No, I didn't go
fast.
Quick. I don't know.
You just finished the tutorial and thought it was the end of the game.
I really only did like three 2-hour segments. But no, I've got some really strong feelings about this game, actually.
Go on then. Just go straight into it. Let's keep it
for
open.
me, and you guys are going to shoot me for saying this. The first 2 hours, to me, felt like the intro to Medal of Honor, because it was slow. And it was honestly disappointing. I was nervous in the first 2 hours. I was like, oh shit, they just took it like taffy and stretched it out, and it's not good. But after that, it fucking opens up, ramps up, it goes, and it gets gorgeous. The thing that hit me first about the game that I will absolutely give it plaudits is the audio design in any kind of good headphones. I wore my tactile suit, my sub pack for it. It's really great. It's probably the best, if not like top 5 or top 10 in terms of the audio journey. Everything, every little rock that breaks in your hands, that plinks off of a wall, all the little energy sounds that you get, all of that is spatial 3D audio, and it is just enveloping. And I, as an audiophile, play this game if you're an audiophile. I don't care if you hate space stuff, play this. This is really cool for that.
I totally agree with you there. It's also got some amazing voice actors that voice these characters.
Incredible.
Troy Baker actually does the voice of Jack, which is the character you play, which is a robot. And something that I noticed was that even any movement that you make, you hear the mechanical sound of the robot whirring and moving. It's very, very cool.
The dynamic range on their sounds is enormous. As you said, all the tiny little noises to all the really loud stuff, it's all in there. And you don't often get that in games. You get a very kind of flat spectrum. It's not that interesting. This is incredibly intriguing on the audio side.
Like the budget they spend on sounds is what some VR games cost, in total.
Way more than that, man. They blew the water with this.
For the contrast. But it's like, you for like a long time, you get a AAA VR game again. Yeah. That's what it is. That's what the sounds are. That's what the graphics are.
I was going to say
voice acting.
This is 2021's Half-Life Alyx. That's what this is.
I would agree.
And I disagree a little bit with you, Sim. Like, I actually enjoyed that kind of like dragged out kind of thing in the beginning, because it is such and I remember it from the first game. It's such an atmospheric game. Like, there's so much atmosphere, and the dialogue is so important, and I just loved, again, like, the realness of the characters that you encounter, from like, even the robots up until like Olivia herself. Like, it feels like you're there, and I I kind of enjoyed that kind of slow start to get you back into that and experiencing that and grabbing Olivia and like doing all kinds of weird stuff, which doesn't really, I don't know if you notice, if you grab Olivia now, she she used to like push you away, but now she like actually like brushes you off on the location where you are. So if you're trying to grab her butt,
now
then
we
she
know
like
what
ways
Rowdy was
behind
up
her.
to during his playthrough.
Why you think I spent 4 hours in the tutorial now?
But it's good to know that this game doesn't really have a tutorial in that sense, and that's why the first 2 hours are kind of slow, because there's a lot to explain. Imagine if you didn't play the first one and you have to play the second one, then it needs to kind of
that's how I justified it.
I think the flow is fine, and it also kind of builds up to like being more of an open world game, because first it's more point to point, and then it becomes like an actual huge,
I'll just acknowledge, I don't think it's a fault that it's slow at the intro. I don't. And I do think that if you pick this up and you didn't play the first one, that easing in will help. And it also enriches the feelings that you get later in the game. Having done that's why I wanted to kind of complete it before I gave my thoughts on this, because the full sandwich is a really nice sandwich. And all I want to do is kind of issue a cautionary tale, because people have really short attention spans. And there are a number of people out there like me who want... what can I say? They want action. They want more happening. This is a very narration-heavy experience, so it's a bit like you're in a movie, in a film, and that's why I'm comparing it to the Half-Life series, because you really do feel like you're Jack, and the characters, the facial animations, the hair on the faces, all this kind of stuff is just it's really amazing, and it's a treat.
And that's why I say I like that slow, because I think VR leans itself so well to that a little bit more. Instead of like that action-packed, like running through each environment and like just going through. I think with VR, because it feels more real, you need to spend more time in an environment to kind of ground yourself.
Yeah, it is.
Become immersed.
There are some small action-packed scenes, but overall, it's not extremely action-packed. It does have some moments where you have to do quickly something, but the trailer did kind of. Like the last trailer, at least that Oculus uploaded, was hinting more towards this being like epic all the time, in the sense of like action. It's not an action movie at all. It's not. It's just that's not the flow of the game.
No, but like Zim said, it's the first couple of hours are a bit linear, then it opens up but it's very dialogue heavy. It's very narration heavy. But to be honest, like I welcome it, because I think we have so many VR titles out there that really don't focus on story and don't have other characters that you can interact with. Other VR titles, generally you're on your own, and the narration comes to your own imagination a lot of the time.
That's true. Yeah, you answer your own questions and things like that.
It's all laid out. It's a beautifully laid out story, and there's just a lot going on. But there is a lot of moments where you have to stand there and just listen.
And I might also say, and again, I'm not going to expose any of the characters, because meeting the characters is part of the fun. But I didn't find there were any annoying characters. I think I loved most of them. I think they were really, really enjoyable.
Yeah. Popcorn, just get rid of him. Shoot him out into space. Forget about it. No, I love it.
But I do know what you mean,
like the character design really stands out. It's not often, Nathan, maybe you said it, but like it's not often we get such a heavy-hitting story. Right, and this is high-end
VR, folks. This is high-end VR that we are missing for ages.
This is the PC VR we don't want to die.
But it again proves that this is the real shit. This is the real stuff.
Yes.
This is what I want. I don't want I like to play a party game from time to time, but this is what makes me happy. This is putting a big smile on my face.
This takes a lot of time as well. It's not just money. It's years and years and years of development.
But the thing what Mike is saying is that, like there are a lot of moments where you're just floating around and you can just kind of, just throw some stuff around, but it's not enough to like have you. So sometimes you're getting a little tired of like standing there. It's like, oh yeah, please, like, and you can't skip it. That's great that they didn't do that, because then you're like, but what did I have to do? Because this game is so well written that it sometimes has references that you experienced in the first hour, but then 6 hours in, someone mentions something about that again. And if you then listened very carefully, it's great, because you're like, I know that inside joke, or I know this.
Also, the audio logs and things that you unlock through the game, there's a lot. There is
it's
a
all
lot
connected.
there, and you can
everything
exactly.
Is
It is like an immaculate play chopped into pieces for you to enjoy.
Zim played 6 hours and did all of the audio logs.
Oh, apparently he did that also. He did that. He did that in 6 hours.
Maybe I lost 2 hours in my count, and it was 8. But
he played it for 16 hours. He just forgot to put the one in.
That is very likely, right? But I just wanted to say, for all the acknowledgement and the applause that this gets, I do find the struggle that I had with it, the main point that hit me was performance. On a 2080 Super with an i7, I really struggled to get the balance point with the settings to a place where it looked good. So initially I started off, toyed with some settings. In the middle of toying with settings, game crashed, right? Tried streaming it, chugged into a level that I didn't find appropriate. So kept playing with it. It took me kind of 3 different play sessions and probably 3/4 of the way through the game to finally get to a happy medium with my setup, including like smooth shadows, game running smoothly, those kinds of things. And I had to sacrifice, for example, anti-aliasing. Also, I don't know why temporal AA exists. That should be binned. That is a horrible, horrible technology. I want to put it away because it makes everything look terrible. But aside from that, performance, I think, is something they probably got to a point with this game because of how gorgeous it looks, that they couldn't tweak it anymore, and they're just like, okay, it's release time.
Yeah, this was like the delay
fair enough,
part,
because
like,
it looks incredible. I love the pulsating, I can't even biomass and things like that you had in the first game. It's just it's gorgeous all around.
One thing to note, and this kind of links in with performance, is that there is, although the game, I do admit the game is beautiful, and I totally agree with you there. But there are some moments where textures just don't seem to load properly, and you get some really low-res textures sometimes, which is a bit jarring because you have this beautiful open landscape of Saturn, which really takes your breath away when you look at it, and then you get inside, and then there's like an environment, and you just like. It's not loading properly. Like the textures are so low.
It turns into like Play-Doh. It's like,
it does,
everything looks like it's made out of clay.
Yeah. It does.
Even that's a thing. Like, it's not necessarily game breaking. Of course, it's noticeable.
Of course not. No.
But I do think they're gonna get that fixed. I think that was the reason why they got delayed, because everything else, like this game, has been properly play tested. Like, hell yeah. Like, I didn't run into any bugs where I was stuck in a wall or something. I had to restart the whole game or whatever. This game just works from start to finish. Yeah. And that's
did you
amazing.
have crashes?
Well done.
Did you have issues that way? Because I did.
No.
I had a lot. And I've heard from my community they're having quite
issues,
a few.
Yeah. In
Crash the
some
desktop,
areas,
I mean. Yeah.
Like in some areas, like the performance dropped, but then there's so much going on. And as you said, if it's not optimized, then what the heck?
Also, one thing I didn't expect, and maybe this is just modern gaming, or a step back from modern gaming, is particularly when you're in a space area and you're going from place to place, that you hit a loading wall. Like, I was like, that just felt odd to me, right? And again, it brings me back to like Half-Life 1. You're running down a corridor as Gordon Freeman, all of a sudden you've got a loading bar. Now, that does happen. That part, the scene-to-scene load, was very short, but the initial game load for me was on par with Iron Man. It was very long. It was probably
with Iron Man. Okay,
I had that as well.
It was probably 45 to a minute and 15 seconds.
So the way this open world works is that it's like, I think it has like segments. It's like has all these like little aquariums that you enter into, and then it loads, because I was sometimes between like 3 different points right in the middle, and it would load like 2 or 3 times real quick between different ones. But what I should say about this open world, it's amazing to just be floating around and have this feeling like, oh, I can just do whatever I want. I can just kind of ignore the story for once now, after that 2-3 hours of linear stuff, and be like, I'm just gonna go here. And first you're like, this is gonna be another like VR game where it's gonna stop here and then it's pushing me back. But dude, it's humongous. It's insane how big this is. How many places you can go. And it's not like you're gonna, like, that's also something I feel like I see a lot in games, where it's like you go somewhere, you're like, whoa, this is looking really mysterious, but there's actually something to find. It's not like, oh, it's mysterious, but there's nothing here. No, that for everything there is a reason. And it makes the story more enjoyable.
And when you're out there exploring, creating your own little adventures, that there was stuff I found, like audio logs and bits and pieces that you can scan, and then that upgrades and levels up your equipment, which then you can use to explore even further. And there was one thing that I found, and it's not really a spoiler too much, But there is a jetpack booster that you can find out in space.
Oh, God.
I told Nathan about it, and he found it as well.
He almost killed me. He almost killed me with that thing.
It's super intense. Like it literally like hurtles you across the map. And all the comfort is just like out the window. This is like super.
A bit of an inside joke here, but is this like at the level of Rowdy on a broomstick?
Dude.
It's super intense. Like after a little while, you're like,
I got motion.
See, this is the thing. When I went to finish the game, you have the stats menu or whatever. It tells you what you unlocked. I thought I had done all the kind of side stuff, and it's like you've done 9.2%. So you know what ended up happening here, lads? And this is a really weird thing for Zim, is that I ended up basically mainlining the story and did none of the exploration, and I just went start to finish and did it in 6 hours. That's what ended up happening here, I think. But I thought I was taking my time. But now that Nathan mentions it, I didn't even think to kind of go exploring. So
there's so much stuff to find, dude.
I was exploring a little bit, like Mike went, like when he told me about this thing he found. I was like, how the heck did he all the way go here? Yeah. And then also, even when you are there, that you're like, oh, but that corner right there, like that piece right there. But there's like totally a lot like to find. And again, it adds to the story. It makes you more aware of things. It teaches you sometimes things about things that are gonna still happen or already happened in the past. So like for me, like I don't think there was any real thing that I would say like that wasn't so good. Like as I said, start from finish, great. Performance problems. The only thing that bothered me personally is the fact that they just didn't market this game at all, and they just did. They pulled the same trick with like what they did with Medal of Honor, and basically what it comes down to. Facebook is now fully invested into standalone. They still have PC VR, but it's more on the back burner. It's like we have Airlink, right? But it's not like we're investing into games anymore. This is see Lone Echo 2 as the last remnant, the last like holy grail of PC VR for Oculus at least. I do think in the future, maybe it's Valve. Maybe because of PlayStation VR 2, we're going to see an increase again on PC. But for a while, this is going to be the last thing you're going to see. And I think Oculus didn't want to make too much fuss about this, as that's not their market anymore. But it does make me sad, because there are like a lot of people working really hard on games like these, passionate people. I know no one cares about that on the high, like the higher ground. But it's like, this game got 1 or 2 trailers. Today I saw Resident Evil, right? It's almost like coming out. They already uploaded more trailers
5, I think,
than I've seen for Lone Echo in like 3 years.
They even changed their logo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But with Lone Echo, it's not like, we're gonna do a Q&A with Olivia or something, with the actress.
It's so weird.
No marketing at all, and it just.
It's weird because
it's understandable, but
I think the reason they don't do that is just it's inaccessible, and nobody wants the golden fruit that they can't have. Like people, it really upsets people, right? And the majority of their market now, probably 90% plus, they're on Quest.
But also, you should be championing the gold standard of VR. You should be showing that, like you're offering this, but you should be saying. This is what high end looks like.
But if they do that, then they're promising they're focusing on more in the future. And I think you guys are right in saying that, unfortunately, this is probably the end of the line for them funding big titles like this, which are incredibly expensive. So I'm so glad to be able to chew down on this. Now, if you can't foot a $40 game, I have a recommendation. Now, this is from the past. It's quite a long time ago now, actually 5 years. In 2016, a game called Adrift launched. That's spelled ADR1FT. Adrift with a controller is a gorgeous game. Very slow.
It's very
but
rough.
It's drifty. When you're saying rough, what do you mean?
It's motion. So like Adrift and Detached are 2 0G games that you should just avoid, in my opinion. Like, I appreciate what Zim's getting at here, but like for me,
one of those was definitely.
This was from when you didn't have an iron tummy yet. You felt nauseous.
I don't think either of those games are particularly comfortable, and I think that's a testament to Ready at Dawn with Lone Echo 2, because despite being in zero gravity, the game is super comfortable to play because they lock the horizon, and you have this like HUD overlay that helps anchor you in.
Yeah, as long as you don't use the jetpack, you're saying, basically. As long as you don't use the jetpack, it's a total different story.
Yeah, that's something
else. I instead would recommend Star Shelter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a great game. But, to kind of, wrap this up, I really appreciate what Ready at Dawn has done here. I think they were very happy. Like everyone who bought their game, everyone who covered their game, who made a video or said something about it or did a review, they really, really appreciate it because they worked on this for years and years and years. And to get the love from the community at least is amazing. So yeah, this is gonna, like, to me, I think this is gonna be the forgotten PC VR title because of no hype around it or any marketing, because I feel like everyone is already talking about Resident Evil and no one has even, figured out by now that Lone Echo came out. But I do, like, I hope this is going to live up at some point. And I was like, whoa, did we miss this game? Because it is freaking gorgeous, amazing, like the story, everything. As I said, AAA game.
We need to say again,
I'm really happy
the index thing.
I'm really happy they delivered. Really happy.
I just want to say, like, if you're not in the Facebook/Oculus ecosystem, please go out of your way to play this. Don't be intimidated by it. If you haven't done that before, if you haven't revived, just take confidence in this recommendation that it's worth taking that risk playing this game, even playing the first one and then this one. But like that package together, if you're someone who enjoyed, again, Half-Life Alyx, I'll say, I think that sequence of games, Lone Echo 1, then Lone Echo 2, will really deliver for you.
Well,
really
look at it again from like the way, like, like if you want PC VR to succeed, you're going to have to play PC VR games. And if enough people play PC VR games like Half-Life Alyx and ask about Lone Echo, just another sequel or another game from Ready at Dawn or whatever, as long as enough people ask for that, that will come eventually. I'm 100% sure that Valve is looking at this as well and say, if Oculus wants to step out of the game or step out of the PC VR market, we're willing to pick that up. We'll make Steam VR the platform in order for those kind of developers to go to. And I do see, when games like this happen and people really enjoy that kind of stuff, I still think that there's potential for it. And eventually all those Quest owners will come to PC as well.
Well, the thing is, these VR games, these are the VR games that want you to stay in VR and want you to stay a customer in VR. Well, after a while, with I think, there is a good mix between party games and some really, in-depth AAA titles. If you have a good mix of that, works fine, like indies with triple. But right now, I feel like this is the stuff that I'm like, this is why I don't want to sell my PC headset. This is why I want to this is why I want more PC, and this is why I would upgrade my GPU and would like to, but yeah.
I think that the harsh reality of it is the standalone Quest market absolutely rounds out this minuscule little PC VR market. And Oculus funded this game probably 2-3 years ago, and they probably lost a shed ton of money making this game.
It was freaking expensive.
And that's that's the reality of it, unfortunately. Maybe one day it will come full circle. I hope so. I think so. Given the technical limitations of this game, I do think it's going to really struggle to eventually get ported to Quest. I don't know how they're going to pull something like this off. And we obviously know that Ready at Dawn were acquired by Facebook back in June. And I'm sure that's what they want, but I don't even know if that's even possible. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. They did it with Medal of Honor. They did it with Saints and Sinners.
But they do have the architecture, right? Because of Echo Arena.
I guess so. I hope so.
But there's so many assets. I mean, they would really have to ratchet it back, even if you're playing this on low. And even if you're playing it with jagged shadows and jagged edges, it's still a great title, even if things don't look so.
Well, I'm sure I'm gonna eat a head strap for this, but I'm convinced that Lone Echo will come to Quest. I've been saying this for a long time already.
He's eating a head strap.
I mean, Arizona. You remember when I said Arizona Sunshine coming to Quest? You guys are like, you're crazy. You're crazy. It's never gonna happen. It's not possible. And now here we are. We have freaking Saints and Sinners on the Quest.
And Medal of Honor coming.
Okay, now you're gonna get specific with me, but
you have to eat half a head strap.
No, but seriously, Lone Echo 2, go play it. Spread it with your friends or family. This is a flagship for VR. Yeah. This is what we want for the future.
There's going to be a
tier
VR
game of the year, I would say.
Yeah, game of the year. I can see that. This is when I was thinking about that and saying, oh, could it be my game of the year? We had Cosma Dread, we had Gorilla Tag, we had
Gorilla Tag. Okay, well, you know what? Forget Lone Echo.
Demio, right? Those are probably the other heavy hitters. Those are all Quest games essentially. I know Gorilla Tag's on Steam, but they're kind of they're small package games. They aren't cinematic experiences. And in the end, I have to say, like, it's a total different flavor. It's a total different taste, and it felt really good to have another PC VR title.
It's mature.
It's like mobile gaming. Mobile gaming outperforms like the PC gaming market. And like I don't know how many millions of dollars, but. Is anyone really waiting for a mobile a mobile game anytime? And I think of course I'm not comparing Quest now to mobile gaming or something like that. I think it's far beyond that. But it's kind of like an analogy that I wanna make clear. But I still think PC has a lot of potential. It just needs to it needs to trickle down like it always has. Like it needs to trickle down from console, and now it needs to trickle down from Quest.
Yeah. Well, I do think people, if you get to play Lone Echo kind of games, and you get like maybe 3 or 4 in a year, I think people will, not put their headsets on the shelf that much compared to now, because it really, you're like, wow, this was amazing, because you built like Lone Echo to me now is like a memory that I built. It's like I feel like I'm friends with the characters. Yeah. And now I feel like they're stuck in this game and people need to visit them. You know what I mean? It's like, go visit these people. They're waiting to go on an adventure with you.
Please make a sequel.
Yeah. So that is Lone Echo 2. High praise from all of us. Yeah. VR game of the year for me. Yeah. Go check it out.
Same.
It's $39.99 in US dollars, $29.99 in British pounds. Available exclusively on the Oculus PC platform, although you can use Revive with other VR headsets. So definitely go and do that, because it's probably going to be the best VR game you play all year. Put it that way. Now that's over, I think we should thank another sponsor of the show. I think, and this one is Walkabout Mini Golf from Mighty Coconut. If you haven't played Walkabout Mini Golf yet, you're not only missing out on one of the best golfing games in VR, but also an amazing social VR hangout experience that you can have with your friends. The game includes 8 beautiful courses, including the latest course, Quixote Valley. They've just updated this map with their hard mode, which takes place in the dark if you're looking for a new challenge. So maybe if you played the new map already, now's the time to go back and play it again in the dark with the ramped up difficulty. Each hole on the course has unique hidden collectible balls, which you have to find alongside golfing. So you tend to go on a little Easter egg hunt with your friends. It's super fun. You should definitely check this one out. It's definitely one of the best Quest titles, that I've had fun with over the last sort of, year with the pandemic and everything else, catching up with friends. So definitely give it a shot. Walkabout Mini Golf. It's available on Quest and PC VR headsets. The link to the Quest version is in the description down below.
Just to add one point to that, the hard maps, when they land, you get a fox hunt, and that's the thing that I look forward to most. Not only that that map in the day looked amazing, in the dark, that looks even better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Awesome sponsor. So now there's 2 things I want to quickly highlight before we move on, and I'll rush through them as quickly as I can. It's two Kickstarter campaigns that you should be on your radar if you're a VR enthusiast. I would normally give them much more time to discuss them, but as we're only doing an episode every 2 weeks,
and as everyone release a headset every day.
Exactly. At the moment, it's crazy. So instead of doing a 5-hour show, I'll just briefly sort of give you an overview of them. The first is a completely new XR headset, which combines both AR and VR functionality into a sleek-looking headset, and that's the Lynx-R 1. It's a standalone headset using the XR2 chipset from Qualcomm, so same XR2 as the Quest. It's designed to be used standalone, like the Quest, or connected to a PC wirelessly to play Steam VR content. Has a built-in battery for 3 hours of continuous use. Has built-in hand tracking, although they also offer optional extra 6 degrees of freedom controllers for an additional $100. It's got a resolution of 1600 by 1600 pixels per eye using LCD displays running at 90 hertz. But what's really unique about this headset is it has this awesome looking 4-fold prism lenses. We've never seen anything like this in VR, but so I'm super curious as to what difference these unique lenses will make to how this looks wearing a headset like this. They've absolutely smashed their initial Kickstarter goal, and they've raised $500,000 US in funding so far. They have 24 days to go. The headset itself starts at $500 US, and it looks way more capable than the HTC Vive Flow at the same price. So, if you're looking at this product, you think, well, you could go for this instead. Personally, I've kind of been bitten by VR Kickstarters too many times.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention is like, what did you, invest into?
Yeah,
so far?
like, I did everything. I did the Pimax, the
Oh,
feel,
Pimax,
the feel thing where you sniff up, you can smell
Beat Saber smell.
Yeah. VR ears, I think they're a great
ears.
product, but they've arrived like 2 years too late. So yeah, I'm burnt with VR Kickstarters, but if you're interested in this one, go check it out on Kickstarter. It's called the Lynx-R. An interesting headset. It'll be interesting to see how it does when it hits the market, but everyone's launching a VR headset right now. So personally, I wouldn't say back a Kickstarter. You've got things like Deca Gear as well that are bubbling. You've got Pimax that are launching something. You've got Vario launching something, Oculus announcing something. So I would say hold fire on everything. Yeah. Wait till everyone shows their cards and choose which card suits you best.
Yeah.
So that's the first one.
A question.
One is, go on.
VR ears. I'm surprised you like them. They sounded tinny to me. These are the bolt-ons to... It's multi-headset, is it? Or is it just Quest?
Yeah, multi-headset, yeah. So they provide adapters for pretty much every consumer VR headset on the market. I like them. I don't think they sound as good as Index over-ear or off-ear headphones. For me, it's just a compatibility issue, as they don't fit the Bobo VR M2 strap that I'm currently using with my Quest 2.
You can't use them with.
Can't use them. Plus, I wouldn't be able to use them for recording anyway because they bleed sound, unlike over-ear headphones. So for personal use, I think they're great. For recording purposes, if you're a content creator, not so great.
Yeah, so a tip from Arcanian in the chat, he says, just don't back anything Mike backs and you're going to be fine. So
yeah, you can back
just keep an eye on what he's tweeting about, and if he backs something, just don't back that and just back the other thing.
That's great advice. Yeah, well done. The other Kickstarter I want to mention, I think is really cool, and this is a full documentary entirely filmed in VR chat. And it's called We Met in Virtual Reality. This is a film that follows some unique stories of VR chat users. You've got some really cool people such as Jenny, who's a sign language teacher, who's using VR chat to teach people sign language and to help people who are deaf and have harder hearing. And you also have these two sets of couples that are using VR chat to have long distance relationships during the pandemic. And this kind of film follows their stories on how VR has enabled them to be closer together when they're physically apart. It looks like a really cool documentary. I'm not the most avid VR chat user. I appreciate what it's for and what it does. And there's obviously a huge following of VR chat, and I appreciate that. But this does look really cool, and I do want to check it out. The creator of this documentary, Joe Hunting, is offering tickets to a screening of the film in VR chat, which is one of the better tiers. Which I think is really cool. You can watch it with the community, which I think will be really interesting. And there's other reward tiers as well if you just want to support the film itself. I just wanted to mention it very, very quickly along with the Lynx-R. So if you're interested in VR chat, you should definitely go and check that out.
What was the release timing for this? I didn't quite.
Good question. I'm not sure. It's going to be relatively soon. But yeah, the film's called We Met in Virtual Reality. They've got a really great trailer.
It's quite heartfelt, actually, listening back to the trailer. Obviously, we don't play the audio on here, but I'd recommend people go and check that out.
Yeah. Cool. So that is that. And now as for the last segment of the show, talk about our predictions for Facebook Connect, because, of course, the official event is happening in between our next show, so on the 28th of October. And historically at these events, they've been physical events, but obviously for this year and the last year, they've been digital online events. But historically, generally, you get new games announced, new products announced as well. So I thought it might be fun to have a little bit of a roundtable of predictions that we could throw into the mix. And also feel free to share your predictions for Facebook Connect in the chat, and we can read out some of your suggestions. Anyone want to go first with what they think might happen at this event? What might be unveiled? What might not be unveiled?
I see Zim. No. Okay, I
always jump in, so
I can kickstart this.
So
I think, just in general, I think Facebook Connect will be more business focused.
Yeah, I actually very much agree with this. I very much agree with this. This was my prediction as well. Go on, Nathan.
Yeah, so what that means is, well, they're basically going to talk more about the Infinite Office stuff, I think, more about Horizon Workrooms. their restart. I call this a restart of Facebook. No, wait, it's not called Facebook Horizon. Horizons. Horizon.
Horizons.
Well, Facebook. The Facebook name is gone for. Well, I'm sure you know why. And besides that, and then we're not just talking. Like we're not really talking hardware here yet. Yeah, what else? Of course, like talking about like software and also like how you can use this for your business. They have like a business Quest too, right? With like a subscription kind of like thing going on. I think they're gonna talk more about that. And then when we do talk about hardware, this Quest Pro, whatever it's gonna be called, we don't know what it's gonna be called, will be also for business. With eye tracking, with what else is there available?
What a letdown that would be. If that's the way it goes, I will be disappointed.
But this headset will be for sale very soon, next year. But they're also gonna, of course, kind of tease what they're working on for the future for consumers. But there's not gonna be something releasing anytime soon because the Quest 2 is still having a great run, because I usually feel like when people talk about this, they never seem to understand that there's a difference between announcing something, revealing something, and selling something at a show. And at this show, they're not going to sell straight away. Maybe there is a pre-order for businesses. I don't freaking know. Yeah. But there's not going to be here, buy as a consumer now, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
that's my prediction in a nutshell.
And I want to chime in here because I think Nathie is on the money here. I personally feel that it's going to be more business orientated. I do think gamers are going to be a bit disappointed with this event. I think they might announce a couple of more games. You know, maybe we'll get a look at Splinter Cell. Maybe we'll get a look at Assassin's Creed. Maybe we'll even get a look at Boneworks Project 4.
Maybe another indie or two that we didn't hear about before. But you do need to keep in mind that they did an Oculus Gaming showcase, remember? Where they were talking about Resident Evil. Did they talk about Lone Echo? I don't really know. I don't think so. No, they didn't. They should have, though.
They should show. But I think they'll show Medal of Honor for Quest. I think they'll show something.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the Oculus Gaming showcase, I think they're trying to kind of detach the gaming side from Facebook Connect and kind of make it its own show. And the gaming showcase was the first time they tried to pull this off, and that's why they already spoke about half of the stuff that we are going to get now. So there isn't that much to talk about gaming wise at this point.
But like you say, I think, Facebook Horizon will be a big part of the show because they're going to be offering, $10 million in funding to encourage people to start creating content in Horizon.
If you can get in at least.
Yeah. And we've got to remember that it was only a matter of months ago that they released the revision of the Quest 2, which was the 128 gigabyte model, right? And like you say, Quest 2 is still leading the charge in the standalone market. And I don't feel like there's really any pressure from anyone right now for them to say, okay, we need to step up our game and release another product. I do think whatever they announce will likely be a beefed up version of the Quest 2 using the same form factor, using the same platform, just higher specs. Has built-in eye tracking, maybe a next-gen processor from Qualcomm. But I do think they'll market this as, okay, this is kind of aimed at businesses, but if you're a super high-end enthusiast, you could also buy this as well. It's going to be open up to everyone. But let's be honest about it. Like, the games are all going to be the same because we're only just seeing the Quest 1 being cut off now. And that was, 2 years ago?
Yes.
That it came out, or 3 years ago? I don't know. 3 years ago now.
Isn't it 3? Yeah.
It's only just been cut
I'm trying to think. 2019. Yeah, I'm trying to do the math. You caught me out there. I was thinking about Quest 2 coming out last year, which I still find absolutely baffling. Like the fact that the Quest 2 only launched a year ago.
Yeah.
It just it feels like it's absolutely been 2 years, but it hasn't.
Yeah. But I do think this headset, will have eye tracking. I do think potentially with the Elite controllers that we saw recently, it might have some sort of body tracking in it. Using those cameras, I don't know.
It's going to be it's going to be like jam-packed with tools for development for the future.
But also with the highlighting being present in VR and bringing your body and your facial movements in VR. So you're more present in business meetings. You're more present in social interactions with your friend using Horizon. That's going to be the push for them. I'm not so sure about gaming.
The biggest change that I want to see if they announce Pro, is the controllers. Like we saw some leaks of what the controllers might be. That's the most exciting thing at this moment to me, because the controllers and their form factor since CV1 have been controller with the ring, right? And I'm interested to see that evolve. Also, I know I've maybe said this on the previous podcast, but I'd like to see them have a device that works with tracking outdoors. I think it opens up a lot of opportunities for them, also in terms of their external scanning. The thing for me that I think will show at this event that'll be maybe the most impressive, which they took a first step with Ray-Ban Spectacle. I can't remember what it's called. Ray-Ban Spaces.
Ray-Ban Stories.
Stories. It's a silly name for a freaking pair of glasses.
Ray-Ban Spectacles.
I think is Project Aria. So the headset that we saw last time, which was basically an early kind of research prototype, which was basically an AR, their kind of first step into AR glasses, wearables, and for that experience. I think that would be a really interesting entry point. And for me, it's their flagship against Apple. Like it's the product that they need to get to market first before Apple does in order to establish themselves. They've already got the VR side, but if Apple drops before they do, it's a big problem for Facebook. So I expect that to be a cornerstone at this event. The update to Project Aria is what I mean. Not necessarily that they're launching it. I don't know if they're launch ready.
Not like now everything can happen, because the thing is, like, they changed the name. It's Facebook Connect, so it's not just VR anymore. It's Facebook Connect, so everything Facebook related could be popping up.
No more portals. No more portals, please.
I don't know. Yeah, that was kind
camera
of
devices.
But I don't know. I like, my expectations are quite low, to be honest. I wish I had better news. It's just that also what Mike said, like games. I mean, yeah, they might. Well, in my opinion, they have to show something that they are working on. They have to give a roadmap, and I said this last year as well, and the year before that. It's like, give a roadmap. What can I as a consumer play on my Quest next year? Why should I, as a consumer, buy your Quest? What can I play on it? You know what I mean? So I want to kind of know, okay, yeah, we hear about Splinter Cell, but please don't just show an image again of, like, Fisher and be like, oh yeah, but it's coming soon. I'm like, come on, like, you can't do that. And not just like, I don't want to be talking only about Splinter Cell and Assassin's Creed. There must be more, right? Like, we can't just like play 2 games next year, right? I mean, so I don't expect much gaming wise. I think Project 4, maybe Brandon is using this as his opportunity, although I think Node as a channel has more reach than Facebook Connect so I think he's going to use his own channel, but he might still tease something, who knows. But yeah, I think if you're a business, if you're a developer, this is going to be an interesting show. I think there's some cool stuff to be seen, but as a gamer,
you think we're going to be disappointed as well?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of scared to be disappointed.
I think Nathan and I had a favorite moment last time, which was, do you remember there was the Medal of Honor guy who was talking along with, I think it's Ruth from Facebook, and basically there was a little bit of a jab, I think, to basically say, oh yeah, and we're launching on Steam too. And you could tell when they cut away, they really didn't want to support the message that it was coming to Steam as well.
In Facebook's metaverse, Steam doesn't exist, basically.
I'm awaiting my favorite moment from this Connect.
Yeah, I just think, like, if you're a gamer, you have to just tune in for the next gaming showcase, Oculus Gaming Showcase next year. That's the moment where you're going to see stuff.
But I also feel like if Oculus and Facebook don't start pulling out, like you say, a roadmap of what's happening next year, they're just going to get dominated by PlayStation when they hit the ground running.
But the thing is, they will anyways. They will anyways. Even if they have a roadmap now, they're going to get, because they don't understand what that means, a roadmap.
But I think this is the thing.
I'm serious.
I think this is the thing, like, because PlayStation is going to be like a predominantly gaming device, Yeah. They're going to nail it straight out of the park when it comes to, content. They always had amazing content.
Yeah, for casual content, but also hardcore content. I feel like Oculus is more casual content.
100%. Yeah.
And Rowdy, what do you want from this? What do you want from this Connect? I mean, what do you expect from it?
Yeah. I think there's going to be 2 sides to it. I think we're indeed going to have, like we've said so far, like the business side to it, probably like something like a Quest Pro and like more like a business focused headset. And a large part of the conference will be probably indeed focus on that business, since that's what they've been doing with the previous releases as well, and the previous statements that they've made. It clearly shows that they're going in that direction. And I also think, like we said, like Facebook Horizons or wherever it's called right now, I do think they're going to do something like a same day. You can like go in there now. I think it is about the time that they do that now, that they're going to say, okay, from now on it's open. You can go in there. You can explore. Maybe they even have something ready as like a that you can follow the conference in there or something in order to drive people to go and check it out. I would expect something like that.
Well, that's what they said. They said it, right? They tweeted about this. They said like, hey, you can watch it in, but then the marketing agency or the company who runs didn't even knew that people didn't had access to Horizon. So but is it in venues, by the way? Can you watch it in venues?
It's a good question.
I have no idea.
I don't remember seeing it. The thing is, though, like Horizon being promoted in their marketing, and they even tag it, they mention it on the website. If you the websites for this, by the way, if you haven't checked out the Oculus Connect website, it is stellar. They must have spent a pretty penny on that. Yeah. It looks amazing. And it did last year as well. So
it have music too, right? It has like this ambient thing going on.
Don't remember about music now. I don't know. Websites with music are kind of off-putting to me. Music. Yeah, it's a faux pas in web design. So yeah.
So we've got a great suggestion in the chat from Dr. English. He says, what's an obviously unlikely prediction that you would love to hear at Facebook Connect? And I would just say that they're announcing a new Rift. It's never going to happen. But I would love to see it happen. Do you know,
the actual Rift that we should have gotten instead of Rift S.
Yeah, like a proper Rift 2.0.
My one would be
that, but I know it will never happen.
My one would be that they have some form of interconnecting social platform that is harmonized across all of their current platforms. Rift, Quest, even Go. Feck it. We'll just throw that in there.
I have an even better one. That they're just going to say, we made a mistake about the Facebook login requirement. We're going to take it back.
Oh, no way. Let us go.
It will never happen, but I'd love to see it.
Another thing I would expect is I think we're going to see something more from Sansuru Games. I think they're going to show something more.
From Asgard? The Asgard devs?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to see their next product.
I do expect to see a trailer for Assassin's Creed and for Splinter Cell, an actual video trailer.
I hope so.
And in terms of maybe a crazy kind of thing is, I know in the past couple of months, there's been more and more focus of Netflix going into the gaming scene and also going into VR scene. There's been rumors going around that, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe those two would kind of tie up together and sort of a combined kind of offering.
So they did release a game. They did release a game on App Lab.
Yeah,
a Netflix game.
Yeah, I remember.
I can't remember the name of it, but they did release one recently.
So those kind of things combined made me think that maybe on Oculus Connect we're going to see something of a more direct collaboration between Facebook and Netflix.
Two things that I think expect is again a push for fitness. They have been doing this a lot. They have been kind of, as I said, they seem to be kind of moving away from gaming and seem to kind of be more in you can use this as a fitness device. You can kind of work out. And a thing that I also want, and this should have been last year, this should have been the year before that. I feel like I'm like in this deja vu show every time we do this every year. It's please release the multiplayer, the social world of being able to have your own room, being able to play Monopoly, being able to simultaneously with your friends jump into a game, get to walk around your space, being able to hang your Facebook photos on a frame or something, being able to customize your carpets, etc., etc. I know Carmack has been again on Twitter saying blah blah blah. But it's I want to see it. I want it to be released.
I miss
You're already
that.
late on it, but where is it?
I definitely miss having a space which you can kind of decorate and show off. I'd love to see that at some point. Just some corner of the metaverse,
No, it should have been here by now.
Absolutely should have been here.
Should have been here as well.
Yeah.
So let's read out some suggestions from the chat. So they're saying, what was this one? Sexy bicycle says, Mike, that's what I expect and hope. Focused, intended price for business, but available to everyone. Then we did have a suggestion, possible 2 headsets announced, Quest 2 Plus for consumers, Quest Pro for business. The thing is, like,
you hear that a lot, right? But I think everyone wants to have a consumer thing for their own and then also have some for business. So that's why this exists, I think.
The thing is, I feel like these rumors about like a next Quest has been going on for like 9 months now. Like, I'm almost bored of hearing the fact that something like this might even exist before it's even announced.
But the funny part is, like, listen, everyone makes up their own Quest.
They do.
Well, hang on. This isn't a rumor at this stage, right? Because wasn't it Zuckerberg or some company official mention specifically that they were working on an upgraded Quest?
Yeah, of course. But like that's inevitable, right? That's obvious that they're working on the next Quest.
Not necessarily. You can leapfrog to the next device.
What else are they going to do?
It was a super like seller for them. It's great business for them.
It's the Nintendo Switch OLED of VR.
But it's who it's for, I think, is the key point that I'm making here. I think it's going to be business focused with, you can buy this as a consumer, but it's intended for business.
Yeah.
They're also working on the next Rift, 100%. They're never going to release it, but they're working on the next Rift. The tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, like they're of course gonna kind of warm up the consumers by teasing that, as you said, they are working on something new, like always, but they're not gonna be specific about it.
Yeah. Onikaze in the chat says that the Netflix game on App Lab is called Eden Unearthed. If you want to go and check that out. But yeah, they've already made and released a little VR title.
Oh, cool.
Another Flippo side, which was he comes with a suggestion that he would like to see but would never happen, and it just says, "Welcome our new Oculus CEO, Palmer Luckey."
Welcome back.
D1360 VR says very focal. Yeah, like we talked about the half dome prototype like years and years ago. Again, I think it's unlikely
that again
this next gen.
That lumps into what Rowdy was saying, right? Like working on the tethered PC headset that can do everything. They've got it in the lab. We'll never get to see it, at least not in the next year or two.
Yeah. So there's some suggestions from the chat, but yeah, I think the general consensus from us is that it's going to be business. Gamers are going to probably be a little bit disappointed.
Maybe Jason Rubin will pop up. I mean, Mike Verdu left. I really wonder what he left exactly in terms of content and stuff like that. What's still there, what he came up with.
Well, Resi 4 was Jason Rubin's last game.
Yeah,
so yeah.
Well, I also Lone Echo he was involved with. So
there was one additional mention here in chat I wanted to mention, which someone said new Pro head strap. I think a new head strap for Quest is definitely something that I would love if they would acknowledge and change.
Well, it would be good if they revised it at least. I mean, they have been kind of ignoring that to a certain point, but it's kind of like with the cushions, right? Like you can ignore it to some point, but at some point it will also be too much. But I think like most people, their head straps are still fine, kind of. But
mine actually broke.
It broke.
It
finally
broke. Yeah.
Hey,
it's hard.
It's
hard to not break it. It's hard to not break it, right? I mean,
but I use the Bobo now. I love the Bobo. What about the Bobo? Yeah.
Bobo. Sponsor us, Bobo. Sponsor us.
Yeah. We'd like another sponsor.
We like Bobo.
So yeah, Facebook Connect is going to be on the 28th. What we can guarantee is that Carmack will deliver some epic speech again. He always does. And unscripted. It's going to be there, and he just gives it how it is right now in the VR industry, and I love that.
And it's good to know, like we are just guessing. I do see people saying like, Mike and Nate know something. Seriously, we don't know anything. Usually we do, and we're just lying straight up to everyone here. And it's like, we don't know, and it's kind of funny in a way to do that, but it's also hard, trust me. But this time we seriously don't know anything. Like I will eat another head strap if I did lie. Okay, and
so
Mike
we've got two lined up now. Yeah. So yeah, there you have it. We don't actually know anything.
No, we don't know.
But we'll find out for sure. Obviously, on the next show, which will be after Facebook Connect, we'll be talking about all the announcements there. So if there is anything exciting, we'll obviously keep you all updated in a couple of weeks' time, because the show is now every 2 weeks, not every week. So yeah, some interesting suggestions from the chat, some interesting suggestions from us. But overall, I think we're in for disappointment.
There's a lot of question marks out there. There's not much to stand on, right?
Yeah, maybe because there isn't much going on right now. That's the whole thing. That's why.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Who knows?
So before I pass it over to Zim for his top picks and releases that you should play next week, I want to thank the final sponsor of this week's show, and that is, of course, Synth Riders. We love them so much. They came back to us. We welcome them with open arms. And Synth Riders, if you're not aware of it, it's a fantastic music rhythm game from the team at Kluge Interactive. And it sets itself apart from other music rhythm games in VR by encouraging players to dance, get into the groove, cut loose, and ride those rails to a set list that caters for a range of music genres. They've recently just released their latest Muse music pack, which includes hits such as Uprising and Madness. So if you're a Muse fan, you're going to absolutely love this. And they've done a sort of special treatment to Starlight, which is a Muse track, and they've added a unique visual Synth Riders experience, taking players on an interstellar journey. So if you're into Muse and you like music rhythm games, this is like a combo that you can't miss. Synth Riders is available on PC VR, PSVR, and Oculus Quest, and we've added a link to the Oculus Quest version in the description down below.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Synth Riders. We love you.
So before we go to Zim, someone is asking, will we review Resident Evil 4? Yes, next show we will definitely talk about what we think of this game.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan.
Yes.
So that's it, awkward silence.
Not at all. More like anticipating silence, man.
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to that. So, Spotlight releases. All right, the first one is one that I missed last time. Well, I won't say I missed it. It just missed the cut, and I wanted to revisit this. So this is Shadowgate VR, The Mines of Mythrock. If you don't know Shadowgate was, buckle yourself in, a black and white 1987 point-and-click adventure game for the Apple Mac, which is like, which is almost before I was born.
Wow.
So Shadowgate is a game that, if you're not a fan of spiders, you're not going to pick this up.
I just saw that spider.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's on Mike's face change.
No,
had to put him full screen. So this is this is an action-adventure VR game, okay, for Quest. And you get sent deep into the mountains through mystic chambers, trap-laden hallways, and massive caverns. You arm yourself with a sorcerer's wand and an impervious shield. You're required to battle deadly creatures and lurk along the shadows. One of the things with this game that I find particularly interesting is that it pits you up against all these different puzzles, as well as having the action element to it. So it's a nice combination. Currently rated larger than more than 4.5 stars on the Oculus.
Wow,
on the Oculus
really
system
good.
is very high actually for a game that was just launched on October 7th. So this one, in terms of price, it's about $25. It's $18.99 in pounds. And hey, I like the look of it. I will definitely be putting myself through this. And
Did more than 2 people vote? Or?
Yeah, it was about 100 or so reviews, if I remember correctly, from the storefront.
4.5 stars.
Yeah, you have to watch it, especially if it's like a Rift title. But this one is strictly for Quest. There is a Shadowgate variant on Steam that's not VR, but that released a few years ago for $6. And if you're really a Shadowgate fan, and I've just stirred that up, and yet at least there's something for you to go play in flat. But Shadowgate VR is for Quest.
I was already wondering why people were so hyped about this, because I'm not familiar with this IP at all. So I was like, why is everyone? But now I know. This is special apparently, so I might play it.
A lot of people I know that have been enjoying this one.
Yeah.
Never heard of it either.
I just haven't had time. With 9-hour games like Lone Echo 2 and even longer other games that we can talk about another episode. Yeah. It's difficult to cover everything right now.
You know what's hard? Like trying to not rush an amazing game like Lone Echo 2, but still trying to also get a review out for folks.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And that's the thing. Not that the game itself is going to change. I mean, in 2 weeks' time it'll be something, but that's definitely a pressure we feel. Okay, so next up, I wanted to play for you. And I'm just correcting myself here now. I think I am missing a trailer, so bear with me a second, but I'll talk to it. Unplugged. I mean, this one sells itself, really.
Yeah.
So Unplugged is air guitar in VR without peripherals required, and it is again for Quest. Now, apparently, it's coming to Steam in fall. I don't know if it's showing the exact same release date of October 21st. But this is a pretty gnarly looking one. You do have a whole selection of world famous rock bands, including like Offspring, and I think I saw Ozzy Osbourne in the list as well.
Yep.
So you do get to play sans controllers. I'll just repeat that because this is something that you're doing just with your hands, mano a mano, right? And you get to rock out in as you kind of would have done in like a Guitar Hero type title, okay? Yeah. So you've got notes streaming at you, you're strumming away on the guitar, and you've got a whole bunch of tracks that you get to play along to. Now, I'm going to stop yabbing there because, Mike, I know you've played it, maybe Nathan as well. Can you guys tell us, what was it like?
I haven't played it.
Yeah, it was great. It's Guitar Hero, but with hand tracking. And you think, hand tracking, how's that going to work? Like, is it even possible? Is the Quest 2's hand tracking accurate enough for a game like this?
Isn't your guitar going to fly away at some point because of the tracking?
But they obviously do a lot of like wizardry when it comes to where your hands are placed, and the game helps you. So it's very cleverly done. The introduction with that character you saw in the trailer is hilarious. He's like I don't know his name now and what band he's from, but he's actually from a rock band.
Oh, he is an actual, he's not an actor.
Yeah,
oh my God.
No.
I thought he was.
He says some like really funny stuff in the tutorial. It's really great. It gives you a great sense of like being on stage, rocking out with your guitar. I just worry because the thing is with this game is it features like tons of licensed music, and they don't have any non-licensed music tracks in this game. So it's not like any streamers or content creators can make videos or streams around this game. And I feel like it releasing on the same day as Resident Evil 4, it's going to kind of get swallowed up by that.
Is it releasing on the same day?
Same
day.
That's like the worst idea ever.
Yeah. But, so it's, they're saying in the chat, it's Satchel from Steel Panther. That's the guy.
Oh.
But he's epic. He's really epic in this. But I would say that if you've ever loved Guitar Hero, then you will absolutely 100% dig this, and you should definitely go and check it out. I know that Resident Evil is going to be this like Goliath that it's going to compete with, but if you like music games, then you're going to really enjoy this.
Nathan is planning a two-hour stream of doing it when it releases, so if you check that.
If you want to see me if you want to see me eat bats with my virtual hands, then watch me.
Yeah.
Nice. I was going to say the thing that I was kind of concerned about was like, I remember when we got Beat Saber on PlayStation, and the tracking just wasn't good enough, and you'd miss a note in the middle of a mega run. And that kind of thing really irks me. And then, you would compare it to, let's say, early Quest tracking or CV1 or whatever headset you were playing with at the time. And like having, if you care about those beat games, losing because of one blip in a note is really frustrating. So I can't wait to try this for two reasons. Number one, to kind of test that theory, because hand tracking has been a little bit hit and miss for me in all of the applications I've played so far. And number two is, the list of, this is scary to me because I'm like a metal and rock guy, but most of those songs I don't know. Actually, even the one like Tenacious D's one, I didn't recognize it. So
really,
I really like the fact because I've been being a busy parent for the last decade or whatever. It's nice. I actually get to go in and steep myself in some good music and actually play a game. Have you ever done that where you played like a music game and you learned the music from the game? That's going to be my experience here. So I'm really looking forward to it for that reason. That's Unplugged. Okay. Looking forward to that. I don't know why I want to make a joke about the title and someone cutting a cable on their equipment. But you don't have any cables to cut because it's all wireless. So anyway,
that's a pretty calm joke from a Zim doc, but okay, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I could go worse.
I was like, he's gonna go somewhere else.
I got some stuff planned. Don't worry, it's coming up. All right, so Resident Evil 4. I think this needs almost no introduction now. October 21st. If you haven't played the game already, I actually haven't, so I'm looking forward to it. You get to step into the shoes of Special Agent Leon, and this is just you're face to face with the citizens of a rural European village, and they are not friendly. In fact, you have to go head to head with a mysterious cult. There's a number of VRified puzzles. So this is the original game in all of its glory. Minor changes have been made, right, to update it to 2021. But aside from that, if you've played this before and you love it, then this is your game, but now in VR, which I think
it's like Euro Truck Simulator, but without the trucks, right?
Well, but why? What is it?
What? The Euro Trash Simulator. I don't know. And they've all got access.
What do you mean by European village? What does that even mean?
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is how European. Is this like just European friendliness that you're experiencing right in this game?
I'm very, very confused by what this means.
This is based in Nathan's motherland.
This is my actual village.
This is
This is where it's like
Amsterdam.
All the villagers are so angry, coming at you at pitchforks, and
Dutch angry
swinging
swings.
axes.
Why it's got to
Has too
stay
much
inside.
grass.
This
Oh,
is
and
what happens
before,
when you get into Brexit. This is what happens.
This game is Brexit simulator.
before anyone gets confused, right?
2021.
This game is in first person, right? So this is exclusively in first person in VR. It's not a third person Resident Evil title. It is first person. It's landing on October 21st. I'm sorry, I don't have a price for you. I assume it'll be in the range of somewhere between $20 and $40, but we'll find out when it launches. So we've got plenty to play coming up. There are two games that I want to mention as well in my kind of honorable mentions category. One, because I think it's absolutely atrocious looking, but it really just turned my head, and I thought you'd all appreciate a little bit of a Zim flavor today. So here's Probe, a game dev experience. This landed just a little while back, October 4th, on PSVR. PSVR has had a pretty dry desert ever since Fract landed. This is a very unique game development simulation because not only are you developing a game, you're in the office with other developers and you have to go department to department doing little menial tasks for the other developers. So I don't know who thought this would be like fun, but having watched a couple of streams back of PSVR, focused streamers, it really looks like a rough bag of bolts. The idea I thought was actually incredible. It really turned me on in a way. I was like, oh my God, you're in an office. You have like inter-office politics. Then you've got the development part. But I think in the end, unfortunately, it doesn't work out very well. I think it was about 12 pounds or something like that if you're really keen on jumping in on this. But that is Probe. I don't know. What do you guys think about a game like that?
I do wonder, once you finish the game, do you get like a certificate? Like, can you put it on your CV?
There actually is a certification bolt into this title. So you can actually gain some credits in the direction of game dev. But it's just such a bizarre title. I had to share it, and the fact that it's named Probe as well. I don't know. The whole thing is just it's a weird game. Now the last
I do like the concept. I do appreciate when people try like different things.
Exactly. You don't know if it's going to be hit or miss, right?
Yeah.
But can you imagine pitching this to a studio and being like, guys, we're going to make a game, but not just a game sim, because there's game sims on mobile and stuff that are fun, like game dev. But no, it's more office politics than game dev.
Let's make a game about ourselves.
Oh, it's just mad. So PSVR players, I'm sorry, it's a dry spell for you. But you know what? You're going to be laughing at our faces next year, so it's okay.
You will be laughing, I think. Yeah.
So let's go to the last one that I wanted to show for today. Again, these are just kind of honorable mentions. This is RC Rush, landed on October 8 in Steam. The reason I wanted to show this is because I think it's one of those games that's like quite fun to play, but doesn't look good on screen. And the reason that is because you're sat in a seated mode with a remote-controlled truck, and you're driving around a fixed track. Now, a whole series of different tracks, and they've got a volcano, so I had to show them. But that mechanism of driving around, a bunch of other content creators and stuff have kind of thumbed up this game and said it's actually really good fun to play it. And as we don't get too many racing sims, I thought, hey, let's give this one a shout out. So that's RC Rush if you were looking to drive around some remote control cars.
Yeah, this can be really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Good things about this as well.
You know what I mean? It's one of those games which is not good for entertainment purposes, not good for a video, not good for a stream, but actually when you go to play it, you actually have a good time. So that's why I wanted to show
I would only play this with if you have like a family night or something like that, or you have friends coming over, they all bring their headsets and stuff like that. Then maybe then I would do something.
And I believe you can mix play as well, so you can have people on PC, you can have people on headset and play that way. So that helps, right? That dynamic as well. So there you go. Just do a quick recap of our release spotlight. So Shadowgate VR was the first one, Unplugged. Resident Evil 4, those last two, October 21st. We've got Probe, a game dev experience. What an experience. So Nelly.
Yes.
And then RC Rush to finish this off. So that'll hopefully hold you over for the next 2 weeks. If there's anything that you would like others to know about, mention it in chat. Tell us in the comments. And that's our spotlight for the week.
I have one as well.
Go ahead.
Vario have an event on the 21st. So if you're into like super, super high-end epic VR.
Super high-end epic.
check out the Vario event on the 21st. They've got an announcement of something new coming. So if you're into that sort of stuff, especially if you're a sim enthusiast, I think it might be worth tuning in.
So when you take a break from rocking out and killing zombies, you go check out some high-end VR event.
You've got a busy day.
Material. Yeah, a very busy
if you
day.
were about
Call in
sell
sick.
if you were about to sell your house or your organs, that's the moment to watch it first.
Do you happen to know the timing of that event, Mike?
I don't know the timing. No, sadly not.
Don't worry.
The chat are saying Eye of the Temple. That released, I think, this week.
Yeah, we mentioned it last time, exactly, but a lot of people are enjoying that. Yeah, we mentioned it last time. I love that. What Renee has developed is incredible. That's another one that, for me, I'm playing this week. I got a clear room in my house to be able to play. Have you guys checked that out yet?
Yeah, I played it a long time ago. I did like a whole mixed reality video, and that's the best way to capture that game is in mixed reality. And I saw the dev post some clips of a content creator who was making videos around it. And you know when the kind of roof comes down is going to squish you?
Yeah.
He actually did a full commando roll on the floor and just managed to escape. I thought it was the best looking thing in MR I've ever seen. Very cool. No,
that was great. Yeah, but I meant the current version, not the early steps. Did you play?
I haven't played the current version.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
No. So tons to look forward to. I'm really intrigued about Facebook Connect. And can't wait to talk more about Resi and Unplugged as well on the next show. If you have any questions in the chat, now's a good time to ask us any questions you have. Burning desire questions about anything. Could be VR, beards, mustaches in Resi's case.
So Paradise DK has just mentioned that Dreams, which is an app that isn't too different from that funky one I just mentioned. He said has a special ghost train event coming up. And that's amazing in VR apparently. So maybe that's one that you can run on a regular basis. Obviously, there's going to be stuff coming as we approach toward Halloween. I will just caveat: if you see a bunch of rubbish VR titles hitting on Steam, just be careful where you put your money, because most years we get 20 apps in VR that are all rubbish. There's some decent, good ones. But
Rootin' Tootin' Holler Shoot. What was it again, Nathan?
Oh yeah.
The
Mine Ride?
Mine Ride, shooting Ghost Town Mine Ride thing.
I like that one.
That one is kind of funny.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
So just a reminder of the times of the show. It's live streamed every other Saturday on YouTube and Twitch. The show goes live at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, 10 a.m. Pacific time. You can also check out the audio version if you want to listen to it on your commute, and that's available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and on Spotify. If you've enjoyed the live stream today, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future live streams. I want to say thanks again to all our viewers and listeners for the ongoing support and the feedback as well from last episode. Thank you very much. And thanks again to our amazing sponsors, Synth Riders, Walkabout Mini Golf, and VRCover. Love you so much.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay.
Questions? I don't think. There's an Army of the Dead VR installation at Westfield Shopping Centre in London and elsewhere. Is that any good? Thanks. I haven't checked it out. I know of a couple of people
Army
that have.
the Dead? Is that like attached to like Sniper Elite?
No. It's the Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Okay, I was I'm thinking about the game because it also has.
Haven't tried it out, but it looks like you're in like a small space with headsets on with other players using those striker guns, and you're shooting zombies attacking your sort of moving truck.
It could be fun with friends, to kind of play.
The thing I would say is most location-based VR experiences are worth the ticket price because it's just fun and you don't get to march around with a backpack PC. So even if you go with one other person, it's usually a worthwhile outing.
It's a lot of fun.
I think that's pretty much it for the questions. So thank you all. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Enjoy Facebook Connect, and until then, bye for now. Take care of yourselves.
Bye everyone.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.